The tape. We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
The tape.
UGA game day, boy, we ball out. Pull up, put the whole conference in the doghouse. Leave them 6 feet, see me on the win streak. All-star status, go coach and the bench deep. Offense on 10, how we run it? Your best ain't nothing, we gon' send them boys punting. Black and red, got them dead on arrival. Defense hunker down for the tie. Hey, you don't want it with the dogs. Found guy on it, you don't want it with my dog. Break it down, play by play, that's the day-to-day. They know we ain't come to play, boy, it's UGA. Kirby smart, I cannot play the fool. Back to back, we did not come to lose. Back to back like we got something to prove. Pay your dues, dog nation on the move. What's up?
We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape. The tape.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Shut up. Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. The
Shut
tape.
up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
Shut up. The tape.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to the Film Guide Network on a fabulous Monday evening. Glad to be here with you tonight. We got a loaded one for you as per usual. Only show in the studio this week, boys. This is it. Right. This is it. We will be live in Indy at some point over the next several days. We'll also, I think we're going to try some content. I'm excited about it. I don't know if the homies are. We got an 8.5 hour drive up to Indianapolis.
Light work
in a rental car. Ain't shit to do but content, so we're going to do a road show.
Right.
Not live from the car, recorded from the car for all you feds listening. We will not be breaking any laws. Camera will be in on a monopod. It will be all handled. Little road show from the boys.
A road trip vlog?
Yeah. I guess we'll call it a road trip vlog.
Are we delving into that content now?
No, we're going to do a full NFL Combine preview from the car.
A little day in my life.
Yeah, you thought Kirk Herbstreit and a Mercedes-Benz drop top on game day was primo content? Wait till you see this shit. That's what I'm talking about.
This ain't got drop top?
Hey, we ain't in a drop top. No, we're not in a drop top.
What are we rolling in?
Altima, probably.
Yeah, I think we're in a 4-door Altima.
Dude, yeah.
That thing gonna be wobbling on I-75 while we're doing a live show.
Nah.
It won't be live. We'll figure it out. But it's super excited to be there doing show up there in Indy. Super excited to cover the Combine again for the second year now with the homies this time. Last year we took Kirby. This year we're going to take them both. But tonight we have plenty to talk about. We have Combine opt-outs on the front of the news headlines today. Intel on future of the playoffs in college football. Who's the villain of the 2025 season? We'll talk about it today. And I'm bringing you two all-22 teams today. These are teams that comprise the football players that I have thoroughly enjoyed studying over film. We'll give you a national hour all-22 team, and we'll give you a local hour all-22 team, despite the fact that the national hour is comprised of several dogs. Guilty as charged. The Georgia Bulldogs have had some good football to players over the last 5 years since I've started delving in on the film. Excited to do that today. But we lead today's show with a commonly known fan favorite around here. Brooks, read so you don't have to.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. Reading's overplayed, man. Reading's played out nowadays. No need to read unless you're on si.com/college/Georgia or any SI affiliated websites nowadays. You can read those, but other than that, just come here and Brooksy will read it for you and we'll surmise it for you so you don't have to waste your time. Just kidding. Go read this article from Ross Dellinger today. It's an important one. It's another one of them Ross Dellinger articles. We told you last week, if Ross writes it, Ross was given to put on the story by the bigwigs in the sport. And I wouldn't even call this as a, quote, sources article. I would call this basically a Q&A with Brian Kelly.
That was very interesting. I was like, why did Brian Kelly get the main attention in this?
Not to give you the full laydown on Ross and the full background on Ross, but Ross Dellinger is, I believe, a Louisiana native, or at least from that state of Louisiana. Got his base covering Louisiana sports. He's glued in to LSU. So if you were to skim through Ross Dellinger's social media over the last couple of days, you would have seen a photo of the LSU football facility. No context, just him hanging out there. This also right after him being in New Orleans for the SEC and Big Ten meetings, asking Greg Sankey. That's why he is talking to Brian Kelly, because he has access to Brian Kelly. Now, the reason we're reading you this article today is because I have been on the, I wouldn't say forefront, but I have been very outspoken about my confidence level about good news coming to college football. Like, I do think we have walked through the wildest time of college athletics over the last, since 2021, when they're like, hey, NIL. Just pay them whatever you want, however you want. Who gives a shit? Just pay them. Also, while we're doing that, players, we're going to open up this portal thing twice a year. Go whenever you want. Just transfer wherever the hell you want. We ain't going to be able to actually govern you or tell you where you can and can't go. Just free reign. Make as much money however you want. Transfer wherever the hell you want. Oh, by the way, that COVID thing happened. So we just going to let all of you play till you're 28. All right, so we had all of these massive changes in college football over the last 3 or 4 years. And as someone who does a nightly show, has produced over 400 hours of content every year over the last 3 or 4 years, I can feel your disdain for the changes. I can feel the weight of all of it on you guys. You guys have been fatigued through all of these changes in the sport. So much so that guys who love it, whose jobs are to sit here and talk about it, I can feel the negativity towards the changes and all this. We are out of the Wild Wild West time, and I've been talking about that for the last several months, almost a year at this point, with regards to House versus NCAA, how I've been optimistic about the changes coming through the rest of college sport. And we do have a CEO coming to us in the form of college football, at least in the super conferences, per this report from Ross Dellinger today. The CEO's sole job is to enforce the rules in the, quote, super conferences. Again, it sounds to me like they're actually going to have somebody enforcing the rules in the SEC and the Big Ten. This is from the report today. This released about 4 hours before the show today from Ross Dellinger on Yahoo Sports. Quote, there will be real enforcement, the LSU head coach told Yahoo Sports in an interview last week. It will be an across-the-board, consistent with the power conference's enforcement with several sanctions, severe sanctions rather. They will be quick. They will be swift. I think everybody is on board with that. It continues in the report. The new power conference-led enforcement entity, an LLC with a yet-to-be-named CEO, is poised to implement significant penalties for those violating a variety of revenue share related rules, including a restriction in the number of transfers a program can add on, million in financial fines, a reduction in the team's future rev share pool, and multiple game suspensions for coaches. So what will they actually be policing, right? What will this enforcement agency, what will this CEO, what will his actually job, what will his job be? What will he be tasked with actually enforcing? What are these quote unquote rules? One of them is to watch the rev share cap, right? Watch the amount of money that schools are spending on their athletes, right? The $20.5 million that's coming out of the House versus NCAA. There has to be somebody to actually govern that. Hey, are you spending more money than you're supposed to be doing? And if you do, there will be sanctions for this. This comes from the report. Those exceeding the cap will endure financial fines of 3 to 5 times the amount that have been exceeded and could see their following year's total rev share pool school reduced by the exceeded amount. For example, if a school exceeds the cap by $1 million in the 2025-2026 calendar, it could be fined as much as $5 million, plus its pool for the next calendar year would be reduced by $1 million. Essentially, guys, they have a salary cap now, and there's going to be a salary tax for overstepping your bounds on spending.
Yeah, and going over your cap is going to set you up for failure for the next 5 years because you're not going to be able to get adequate talent because you won't be able to pay it.
Correct. They're also, that's rev sharing. All right, there's two avenues of income nowadays for athletes moving forward in college football. You've been accustomed to NIL. Everything you know about NIL is now set to change. What NIL currently is in college football is pay for play. You go here, I give you this. And we drape it under name, image, and likeness, but that's not what it is. It's just pay for play. You're at my team. I'm going to pay you this money from a booster, a collective, whatever it may be. We're going to funnel the money into an account. We're going to funnel the money out of the account to a player for playing at our university. That's what NIL is right now. That is not what we thought name, image, and likeness was ultimately going to be when it was proposed to us. I thought it was like, hey, you're going to be able to get a Zaxby's deal. That's what it is moving forward based off this right here and the reporting coming from this. They're actually going to govern NIL starting in this class, by the way, 2025 and 2026 per this report. Quote, separately, administrators are finalizing details related to the new Deloitte-run clearinghouse tasked with evaluating name, image, and likeness compensation the athletes receive from third-party entities such as brands, businesses, and also boosters. Athletes must submit to the clearinghouse all third-party deals of $600 or more. That figure seems kind of familiar. If you've been listening to this show, we've been talking about this for a while. $600 or more will have to be reported to the Deloitte clearinghouse. Basically, what is Deloitte? Deloitte is essentially an appraisal service on NIL. Now, if you've ever bought a home, that's one thing. If you've ever sold a home, you start learning about what an appraisal a firm is, right? Somebody who comes in, and you might have somebody, Jonathan, when you go to sell your home, you might have somebody that's pressed up on their timeline. They got to move in really, really quickly, and they're like, hey, what's your asking price? Oh, you want $200,000? Don't worry. I'll give you $280 right here on the spot. Just sign on the dotted line. You can't quite do that, all right? There's an appraiser that comes in and says, all right, I don't care what the seller or the buyer says they'll pay you. This house is worth X amount of dollars. It's worth, this amount, and you can't exceed this. The reason being, they don't want you to get off on that, or get over on that seller or that buyer and mess up the whole market for everybody else in the neighborhood. Same thing with Deloitte. All right, they are going to essentially, based off data points, establish the actual market value for name, image, and likeness deals moving forward.
So, I guess my immediate thought for this is that's great. This is kind of what we've been asking for to happen, is like there's kind of like a cap spending. There's also some regulation on this, but what stops college football programs from just not reporting some stuff?
You mean like cash?
Sure.
It's the only thing that can't be reported. You can't track cash. There's no way to do it. So yes, as I've predicted for months now, we're going back to cash dropping on top of all of this. Now, it is the time to be a college football athlete. Maybe the last couple of years, like the idea that Carson Beck's making $4.3 million. I don't know if that's ever going to happen again moving forward. However, you're going to get them cash payments back again for commitments and, don't leave here. Yeah, so the government can't trace cash. No, we all know that.
No, but I mean, I think that one thing it's going to provide is the fact that there's going to be so many regulations and so many strings being pulled by these programs now for these finances paying these athletes that there's going to be less of an opportunity to pay cash. Like, whereas back in the old days when it was you can't pay them at all.
Yeah.
All you could do is pay cash. Cash was super easy. Now you have to pay them through a certain amount of steps that are regulated, so it's going to be even harder to get cash on the table. It'll still happen, but it's not going to be the predominant way that players get their money nowadays.
Well, and I think what will make college football fans feel a little bit better about it, too, is the thing about bag dropping back in the day is that it wasn't reported like NIL deals. It wasn't that... Like, you kind of knew players were getting paid, or a five-star going to a school wasn't immediately followed up by, his NIL valuation for this was he got $2 million from such and such school. Now, because it's unreported and things like that, you don't really know the actual dollar amounts, and it kind of makes you feel a little bit better as a fan.
Well, now you will. I think this is good news. I think there's far more transparency with this new rule. Basically, if you get an NIL deal, you now have to report it. And when you report that, I would imagine that's going to be public information.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would imagine. So
yeah, I'm just saying the little icing on the cake type deals. Like,
the sweeteners of all. Yeah.
The shady stuff that college football fans don't like. You don't have to necessarily know all about it anymore. You don't get the graphic.
At least we're finally to a point now where, like, I believe there's actual optimism about where the sport's moving. Now, the expansion stuff is a touchy subject, but the actual governance of the sport, seems like, how much you think the CEO is going to make? We were having this discussion a little bit earlier, and you guys were dumbfounded to find out.
I'm glad we had the conversation. I'm glad we had the conversation before we got on there, because I would have given a ridiculously low number.
I said at first like 1.5.
This will be it's basically a commissioner. He's a CEO who's in charge of enforcing rules. That's basically Roger Goodell. That's Adam Silver. That's those people. Their job is to govern the people that they answer to, which is very, very weird. Yeah, you guys were dumbfounded to find out how much money Roger Goodell makes. Guys like Adam Silver make. This is like the fourth most important job in sports right now. Roger Goodell, Adam Silver, the goofball that Rob Manfred that runs MLB, and then this guy or gal, whoever they hire to run basically the SEC and the Big Ten. You'll just be answering to Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey, but they're probably going to pay you a hefty sum to do so. I would imagine.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if you like ballpark it based on what the owner of the other like CEOs of these leagues make, I don't know, probably anywhere from like 20 million. I don't know.
I'll change my answer like 10 million, but
yeah, I bet it's going to be a smooth 12 mil, just like $1 million a month to take the whippings from everybody. You know how hated this person's going to be?
Oh, yeah.
This person's going to be the most hated person in sports. It's going to be the guy tasked with, like, swift sanctions is what this guy... The quotes on this were like, oh, yeah, we got coppers coming out here. There will be real enforcement across the board, consistent enforcement with severe sanctions. You think this guy's going to be liked? You got a whole nother thing coming.
Just you wait until this person has to come out here and give a quote about the supremacy of the SEC and the Big Ten, and it's going to rile up so many college football fans. Immediately hated.
I don't think he's going to be as much of a Roger Goodell figure, though. Like, Roger Goodell is mostly hated when he goes in the public sector of the NFL draft and whenever any fine comes down, which even I don't think that's anything he deals with, but I still think people are going to make the NCAA the enemy, and this guy's just going to be the overseeing factor.
This will be the guy who brings down the sanctions. Per this reporting, this will be the guy who governs all of this.
So it's going to be he's the one decision maker.
This in the entity, the LLC. It says it right here. Let's find the quote. The new power conference led entity, and then with a parentheses, an LLC with a yet to be named CEO. A limited liability corporation.
So he's going to deal with...
Who's tasked with governing the sport.
But he's still going to deal with rule changes and suspensions and all that as well? Or is this just going to be the financial aspect
this is just the governance of the sport. This is rule breakers.
Right.
Folks out here breaking the rules, this company will be going to hold their feet to the fire. Instead of Petitti doing it, instead of Sankey doing it. Basically. I'm glad we got that clarification. They're at least, bottom line, if you just showed up, they're getting the money right in college football. And I, for one, love getting my money right. You know where I go to get my money right, boys?
Where do you go to get your money right?
I go straight to Rocket Money. What is Rocket Money? Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/gameon today. Again, that's rocketmoney.com/gameon. rocketmoney.com/gameon. Boys, do you know that if you sign up on Rocket Money today for all of their premium features, let's say you got a bill that is, statistically a little bit higher than other customers that Rocket Money has that also has a very similar bill and service. Did you know that Rocket Money will then argue and kind of go at it with that company to lower your bill for you?
Really?
I'm dead serious over on Rocket Money.
And that's a premium feature, right?
That's a premium feature. That's why $740 million don't come lightly. You know what I mean? You got to be out here grinding for that quiche. That's what Rocket Money does for you. rocketmoney.com/game on.
Do you think we're one of the few shows that organically reads their ads? every time.
I think we have to be one of the. I mean, we're just now a show that does this, that really grinds to make that a smooth transition and not feel like the customer on the other end listening to that is like,
the ad
oh,
break.
come on, another dang ad read. No, we try to make them, a little comical, a little fun. Shedeur Sanders opting out of the combine, boys. I mean, come on, what's up with that?
What's the last?
When's it gonna stop?
It's just the new age of football, honestly. Like, Shedeur and Cam Ward are QB 1 and 2. You can interchange them, and I think that's fine. I think we both agree that they're at least going within the top 10.
Oh,
that one hit the lip too.
It hit the ceiling and the lip, dude. That was going to be the best one of the week. We've been on a streak.
But what do they need to go in the combine for and throw? Like, you've seen and they've shown you everything that you need to know. They'll do the interviews. I'm sure they'll answer your questions. But every physical question you have about them, they've probably answered at this point.
Not me, not personally. And I have such a confirmation bias when it comes to seeing quarterbacks throw in person. Like, when you get up on them, you can watch as much film as you want, and that will lie to you about quarterbacks, at least how the ball comes out of their hand. So that's all I would ever be going to look at these combines. I'm not out here like, grading ball placement on an NFL combine tree. When they go out there and throw at the combine, that's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at see if the ball comes out like it's supposed to. Do you have life? J.J. McCarthy showed this last year to me. I was like, okay, now I get it. This is an NFL arm. Look at all these throws that he can make. I wasn't out here going, oh, shit, he missed the slant. Who cares? I especially for a player like Shedeur. Now, Cam Ward's not going to throw either, but I could see on tape that Cam Ward has a very special arm. I could see that. I can't quite see how special or what the caliber of Shedeur's is just yet. That's why if I were him, I wouldn't. If I were an NFL scout, I need to see Shedeur throw to see the life of the ball, not the location of it. I know he's an stellar accurate quarterback. He just broke the completion record.
But is that not what pro days are for at this stage of people's careers?
Yeah, and I mean,
there's almost you almost never get the guy that says I'm not doing the combine or a pro day. Like, I'm just shutting it down unless he's injured.
The guy last year who made himself the most money throwing multiple times was Michael Penix.
Correct.
Michael Penix threw in Indy, then threw in his pro day, and the Falcons were like, we will wager our entire personal relations department on this move because this guy can spin it like this.
Mm-hmm. But again, like, Michael Penix wasn't coming into this as QB 1 or 2. Like, Michael Penix was kind of like,
that's fair.
I think he had some.
I think at this time last year, Michael Penix's average mock draft database was equivalent to Shedeur Sanders.
I don't know about that.
You think he was lower?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I mean,
he was in that like 20 to 25 range.
He was a fringe first round.
And we're talking about Shedeur in the top 15 range.
Correct. I mean, QB 2 or 1 or 2. Like, but Michael Penix was like QB 3.
This is a very different draft where everyone kind of agrees that Ward's 1, and then there's kind of a relatively sizable drop off to Shedeur. Would you agree?
Sizable in that it's not going to be quarterback.
Correct.
But they'll probably both go within the top 10.
You think?
I think so.
Okay.
My whole thing with this, though, is
I didn't know if Shedeur is going to slide to like 20 range because there's not much of a. You know what I'm saying? Like last year, there was 3 guys at the top. Mm-hmm. You had to you had to get up in there to get those guys. It doesn't feel like that this year for me.
There's too many teams that need quarterbacks this year.
Okay.
Like, there were 5 taken in the first round.
You're my NFL guy, so I'm literally leaning on your knowledge here. I'm not probing you.
No, I know.
My whole thing, though, is this quarterback class certainly has its fair amount of questions. I mean, any prospect you want to tab as QB1. I mean, Kyle McCord is getting thrown in the first round. Like, that's not a slide against Kyle McCord. That's just kind of putting into perspective of where this QB class currently sits of. Nobody really knows where these guys are slotted at. It might be Shedeur number 1. It might be Cam Ward. One of them might not even go in the top 5 right now. Like, there's just so much uncertainty around this class. To me, it seems like it would be very beneficial for Shedeur or Cam Ward to go to the NFL Combine and throw. Not even necessarily to prove anything to anybody, because you have a lengthy amount of time of playing college football to where they can go and look at that. But just to go put something in person at the Combine, I think it shows time and time again that it can do a lot for yourself and it can add a lot of certainty to these organizations.
Yeah, I think that quarterbacks nowadays have reserved that more for their pro days, though, because you get that one-on-one. Everyone has eyes on you. It is all about you in that moment. And we've seen guys like Zach Wilson and even Caleb Williams to some degree last year where
Darnold had one of these historical days.
Yeah, you make your money in the pro day more so in the combine nowadays. I think the combine is more to show off, like, look at my athletic abilities. Look, I'm Joe Milton. I can throw the ball a mile, or I can run a 4.4 if I'm a quarterback. Like stuff like that sets you apart. Whereas the pro day is necessarily when quarterbacks go, all right, this is what I look like throwing on air to guys that I'm comfortable with, guys that I've been throwing to traditionally.
It's a total different script. Like you go to the NFL Combine and you're throwing a 3-step slant, and then you're throwing a 5-step dig, and then you're throwing a 5-step one hitch double move, and it's 25 scripted throws. We know what we're doing. Whereas a pro day is much more altered to your skill sets.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to show that Shador's got a really efficient, clean stroke during the pro day. We're not going to worry about all the big arm. Whereas like you go to Cam Ward's pro day, it's probably a lot of fancy stuff where he's showing the arm angles, doing all the good stuff.
Throwing a post.
I do want to get to this because I've seen a lot of the takes about why would you go to the NFL Combine and throw with wide receivers that you don't know. I had a story I told you guys about pregame. What is my favorite thing to do? I talk about all the time. What's my favorite thing to do in the offseason, Jonathan?
Go throw the football.
Go throw the football on Friday nights in the bubble. And I'm a 30-year-old who has nothing to live for athletically except for that. I can't hoop. I ain't gonna be out here playing the wiffle ball with the paddle. What's that?
Pickleball?
Bullshit? I ain't gonna be out here with the pickleball.
It's pretty fun.
I ain't gonna be out here doing none of that. So all I got left is I can spin it. All right. So we go out on Friday night, and there's this young kid. His name's Cam. I come to find out he's in 8th grade. We're like 30 minutes into the workout. I am a full lather, full sweat. We're throwing digs. Okay. The hardest ball to throw, working 12 to 15, rounding it off at the top. And the reason it's so hard to throw is because you're coming back perpendicular against the quarterback at full speed. Okay. It's a really hard ball to not throw backside. All right. Or not to miss out behind instead of put out in front. This young kid, Cam, this little 8th grader, comes up, puts his cleats on, don't even tie the damn things, grabs an NFL ball.
Wait, Denard Robinson?
Denard grabs an NFL ball in 8th grade. 2 throws in a row, smack, right in the eyes of this dig route. Big boy dig, 12 to 15. And I turned around and said, hey, did you just get out of the car? And he goes, yeah. I said, those are the first 2 footballs you've thrown all day. Yes, sir. 8th grader, okay? An actual thrower of the football, a guy who can throw the ball. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is what these guys should be. This is what these guys are. This is what they talk about who they are. I'm a thrower of the football. I'm a quarterback. I'm a guy. Go to the NFL Combine. It's a 3-step slant. Put it on the damn dude's eyelids. It shouldn't be that hard.
I agree.
That's the way I look at it.
I mean, this kind of just came to my mind of maybe a reason why some of these...
Shout out Cam, by the way. Stewart Middle School. Sorry to cut you
You're
off.
fine.
Stewart Middle School. Cam out here balling.
Cam Stewart Middle School?
No, Cam is his name. He plays at Stewart Middle School in Douglas County.
Gotcha.
I forgot my man's last name because I didn't ask for it. Continue. Sorry to cut
I'm
you
always
off.
fine with showing love to the people that deserve it.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Something that just came to my mind, though, is maybe one reason why some of these quarterbacks are electing to do this. It may not even be for themselves, but it could be, well, if I don't go throw the combine and I say I'm going to go throw at my pro day, that might mean 5 more NFL organizations are at our pro day, and that's 5 more organizations that are going to see my teammates or my wide receivers or my other guys on my team. So maybe it is like just kind of an idea.
I love the spin zone.
Sure.
I mean, to the other point, like, with all due respect to
Colorado.
Cam, he doesn't have millions and millions of dollars riding on that practice.
That's true. That's true.
And if you told Cam, hey, Cam, if you come out here in this bubble and you don't throw necessarily great, you're going to lose millions of dollars.
No Scallies.
Probably doesn't show up.
No Scallies, Cam, the 8th grader.
Dude,
Probably doesn't show up.
let me
Probably.
pitch it to you this way.
That's a good point.
Shiloh, no NFL Combine invite. Hey, son, don't go throw the Combine. We're going to make them come watch Shiloh.
That could also very
Come
much
on,
be
Like that.
spin.
We're going
That's
to make them
also-
come watch Shiloh.
You got to come see both of us.
I like that.
That's also a very.
I'm sure Travis isn't doing anything, is he?
I
Probably
wouldn't.
doesn't need
There's
to.
a cool interview session for him.
Yeah.
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 Do a backflip or something.
I would like to see him go through testing.
I would too.
Yeah.
Is he even going to weigh in?
I don't think he should.
Over, under 175
Let's see.
pounds? 182?
If he weighs,
182.
if he
Travis Hunter 182.
If he weighs it, it'll because he's been trying to put weight on, and he will weigh somewhere above.
Oh, the Bryce Young water trick was hysterical that year. He weighed in at like 209 pounds.
Yeah, probably had diluted sample.
Just drank like 89 ounces of water before.
So far, it sounds like Travis Hunter will be a participant.
Ooh, I'm very interested to see what he weighs in at. Never been a very thick dude.
No.
He had to have been like 168 in high school. But my God, the way that dude found the football. I've never seen an athlete in my life attack it when the ball's in the air like Travis Hunter. Nobody. That's why I think he's a wide receiver in the league. But then again, very rare traits to be able to find the ball like that as a corner. So we'll see. Cam Ward not expected to participate. Genty's out.
Another one of those, like, you're going first in your position. Don't do it. Don't risk injury.
Dude, I told Brooks this, I think it was last Thursday when we were sitting in here earlier in the day. I was reading an NFL mock draft. I can't even remember who wrote it. They had Ashton Genty going, I believe, to the Dallas Cowboys in the first round. And you know how they always give like a little paragraph about why this player should go here, why this player is slotted this high. This person literally wrote, Ashton Genty, you already know why, enough said.
No, I don't, sir.
Apparently, that's the biggest lock I've ever heard in my life for a first-round running back. Enough said.
I don't know what you mean, sir. We have a new game around here. I don't even know what we're going to call this. We're going to Wheel of Topics.
Might as well.
Wheel of Topics. We're going to spin a wheel, and we're going to talk about the things that are on the wheel. I'm excited about the possibilities here, boys. So go on, spin that there wheel, and let's find out what we're going to talk about today. Oh, we got a tight angle for this?
Oh, yeah.
My God, the production value of this network, insane. What do we got? We got 3 must-have whats?
It'll pull up.
3 must-have recruits in 2026. This is for the University of Georgia, I presume?
Just like if you had a college football program, who are the 3?
Oh, yeah. My man Blaine Bradford, the safety. Whew, give me some of that. I need some of that tape. Tristan Keys, for sure, the wide receiver. Give me some of that tape as well. Oh, and then easy money. This is hard. Because, hold on. I'm conflicted here. Do I take Derek Cooper or do I take Brock Jr. Out there from Matter Day, the tight end that just reclassed? Mark Bowman. Mark Bowman might be the most surefire. He's by the way, only reclass guy I feel confident about, period. These reclass, Georgia, as usual, keeps a very long-standing data collection points on all these reclass kids. Even the chart I saw dated back all the way to 2004 with the very first guy to do it, John David Booty. How about a name right there? All right, so they got the data points all the way dating back, and here's the deal. Reclass kids, not a lot of success stories, all right? Not a lot of bangers, all right? You know who else was a reclass kid?
Who?
JT Daniels.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know who else was a reclass kid? Labius Overton, the defensive tackle at Alabama right now, was slated in the 2020, I think it was going to be in 3. 2023 was going to be the guy. Guaranteed home run hit, reclasses into 2022, gets into that Texas A&M class, doesn't go so well at Texas A&M, playing really well right now at Alabama. The only real, I feel good about that guy, he's going to play in the league as of recent.
Is the reason that these reclass kids don't do well is just it stunts growth, or your year
no clue.
Get there?
No clue. I think for a guy like Marcus Washington Jr., reclassed at Georgia, okay? A legacy kid, got an offer from Georgia, was committable, popped, had the grades to do so, reclassed. But what he did was he reclassed into a class they probably had no business being in against a bunch of dudes that were very, very good. Leaves, has to go to Louisville, doesn't work out at Louisville. I think he's transferred since again. So most of these stories aren't necessarily great. Mark Bowman, I think, is going to be a home run, though. I just think he's so good and so clean and so polished. But I don't know if everybody's ready to do so. Give me Derek Cooper, though. That Derek Cooper tape is...
So are there no quarterbacks that you'd say are must-have in 2026?
I mean, Curtis feels that way, but, we'll see. Curtis does feel that way because no one else is in on Brandon. Brandon's the only other blue chipper at the position. Faison Brandon, the Tennessee commit, by the way. Most underrated player entering next season.
God, that's tough.
That is tough, especially to be sprung on like that. The idea that Deontay Lawson's coming back at Alabama is insane to me. That is a very, very veteran linebacker who got hurt late last year and is coming back to college for, I think, a 6th year. He's been playing football forever, and he's really, really smart. If you watch him on tape, I thought he was an NFL guy. That guy coming back is relatively impactful for that defense.
Who's the Notre Dame wide receiver that played lacrosse? Is he not coming back?
Oh, number one.
Yeah.
He's coming back.
I think it's weird that
Faison?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that
it's
correct?
Very weird that he gets the whole national dual sport athlete during the season.
Oh, and he's a guy with the lax stick in the hand.
He's a legitimately good wide receiver as well.
Yeah.
He's not getting any attention right now. It's interesting. Like there was a couple of lists of top 10 wide receivers coming back. Not on there. So
I feel like Dalen Everett fits in this category.
Dalen Everett definitely fits in this category. One of the players to beat the he sucks allegations.
Yeah. Rare it happens. All right, let's see. Go to the next one. Are we going to play this with numbers too?
Yeah, we
can.
can.
Oh, yeah. How's the chat liking this?
They seem to be in.
Let me know, chat. Is it a dub chat? Big dubs in the chat.
Yeah.
All right, one college football player you're buying 2025 stock in. You can't buy enough Caleb Downs stock.
No.
It's already sold
Too
out.
expensive.
Way too sold out. A freshman at Georgia, Elijah Griffin. Definitely buy some stock there. Nick Harbor. Hear me out here. Nick Harbor doing the Arian Smith. Okay, gonna quit running track, spending the whole year building rapport with Lenore Sellers, off-season focusing on football for a guy who's never spent a year-round calendar year focusing on one thing. This is a guy in high school that was an edge rusher, a tight end, a ball carrier, and a world-class track athlete, and now is focusing the entire year on being a wide receiver. I think Nick Harbor could have a big year.
I think another solid answer would be a guy like David Sanders. I think he has year one impact for Tennessee on that offensive line.
Mike Matthews
is a good option too.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
The idea that he wasn't playing last year to me was like, where is Mike at? Where's Mike at?
I want to buy Garrett Nussmeier stock.
Okay.
I think those long-term veteran. Look, I know
that's the definition of a stock market guy right there.
Yeah. It's a volatile stock there, baby.
But not
volatile stock.
These fifth-year guys usually do very, very well.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't
Second year starting. I think a lot of people, myself included, forget that last year was Nuss's first real year playing ball.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Because everybody saw him in the SEC mop-up duty the year before behind Daniels and was like, hey, this guy's capable.
And he
expected him to be a lot more disciplined last year.
Won that bowl game against Wisconsin, too.
Yep. All right, what we got next?
Do one more and then we'll go to numbers?
Yeah, I like that. Let's see here. Come on. Did I see a Bill Belichick topic up in there? One thing you would fix about college football. Huh.
I got the layup answer.
Come on.
Targeting.
Oh, yeah.
Fix. I mean, that's the. I feel like that's the most doable fix. Obviously, you can say I'd fix
I know what I'd fix.
Portal, I'd fix NIL.
I know what I'd fix immediately. Exos and catapults hold on college football. And it's not even them from the people that I talked to there. It's the coaches in college football. Coaches get real protective over their game film, and if they weren't so holier than thou about their own product, we could educate you at a whole higher rate than what we do even on this channel. We would break into live streams with film if we could. We can't because of some of the strangleholds on the video content.
I mean, are they that worried about the public's not going to know what to do?
I will say this: film. I don't think they're worried about us because of the way that we do it. However, there are people who do use game film and don't educate properly, if that makes sense. And that will really, really bug a college football coach.
That's fair. That's not ruining schemes for them, is it?
No, but it's creating a false narrative and a false perception of their product.
That's fair.
I'm going to jump conversations here a little bit, but I had someone DM me on Twitter mentioning that Quinn Ewers was a reclass. Would you consider that a success story?
Quinn Ewers was the highest rated quarterback in the history of the recruiting rankings before he reclassed.
Correct.
He's going to be a 3rd round draft pick.
I guess, college success, you started multiple years at Texas. And you played in the playoffs.
Went to the conference championship first year there.
Highest rated player of all time before he reclassed.
And I think that might be falling victim to your expectations. I think Quinn Ewers was a really good college quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't think that the ceiling was anything higher than that, despite what the media and despite what everyone else said about it. I don't think that Quinn Ewers was ever going to be God's gift to college football.
You never saw him. Did you see him in person throw when he was in high school?
Yeah, he had a great arm. I mean, like back mullet days and all that.
Yeah. But when he was coming out of high school, for me, it was almost a do not touch from the attitude perspective. And I think that kind of played out at Ohio State to an extent. And then everything changed about his persona year one and his personal life year one at Texas.
Yeah, I mean, it's always just hard to gauge these guys, in my opinion, where they come in, it's like, this is the best ever.
Yeah.
Where it's like, unless you are truly the best ever, it's viewed as a failure, where I don't think his college career was a failure.
I'm with you in the sense that Quinn Ewers I think he maximized to an extent what Quinn Ewers' physical profile was always going to be. So I'm with you there. Wouldn't call that a failure. I'd call that a passable grade.
A wash.
Yeah, a wash. Very akin almost to what LT Overton's been, in my opinion.
That's fair.
A good 3-year starter in college. That's going to be a second, third round draft pick. All right, let's get to numbers. I think it's going to be fun. Let's play numbers wheel. All right, so here's how this is going. We're going to spin a wheel. A number's going to pop up. First name that comes to the head, immediately right there, spin that sucker. I got it right here. Woo! All right, here we go. Please give me 5. Can I get 5 on the roulette wheel? Oh, almost did it. Number 3. Who's a great number 3?
Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley, tremendous number 3. What's his name at Florida State? The DB wore 3. Plays for the Chargers now. James?
Derwin James.
Derwin James. Tremendous college football player. Oh, sticking on FSU, Antrell Roll, the former, basically became a doctor after he left down there at FSU after being an All-American. That guy wore 3. He's a great football player.
There's a Florida State QB that wore number 3.
DJ Manuel. He was average. He was okay. Let's think. Alabama, have they had great 3s?
Trent
Richardson wore 3, won a Heisman. Wasn't there one of them receivers? Jermaine Burton wore 3 over there. He wasn't great. How about quarterbacks? Anybody? Russell Wilson. Didn't he wear 3?
He wore 13.
He wore 13 in college.
DJ Shockley.
That's a good call. No Heisman winners wearing 3?
Roquan Smith, chat said.
Oh, it's a great pull on Roquan.
There's been some good 3s.
I think that's going to be a shortcoming of us, the defensive 3s and the defensive numbers on these. Nobody up on the big board wearing 3.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, Kamari Lassiter to give a defensive shot.
Yeah.
He's a good
defensive shout there. Spin that wheel, baby. Let's see what we got next.
Alrighty. Is that a remove?
Yeah. Hide input. And then, there you go. All right, let's see. Let's do 3 or 4 of these and then move on. Oh, 13 would have been tough. 12. How about first name that came to my mind, random, Chris Leak.
Yeah, Greg McElroy.
Yeah.
Definitely a quarterback number. Andrew Luck.
Oh,
yeah,
beautiful.
That might be peak number 12.
That's the winner. I don't think you're getting a better.
That is a big good number 12 right there.
A non-quarterback
big QB number. I mean, Brady wore 10 in college, so this wouldn't have been Brady. All those Bama Qs. Well, McCarron wore 10.
Yeah.
Didn't Colt McCoy wear 12?
Colt McCoy were number 9.
No,
he wore 12. He might wear 12.
I think Colt McCoy wore 12.
He might wear 12 actually.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He wore 12. He's a good quarterback.
Is there any non-quarterback?
Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter wears 12.
There we go.
Which one of the Ohio State QBs was number 12? I'm blanking on his name.
Not Jacoby Brissett.
No, they called him 12 gauge.
Cardell Jones.
Yeah, Cardell Jones. That was the one I was thinking of.
All right, we'll hide that input. We'll spin again. All right.
Bryce Ramsey
in the 12. Ooh, big numero 1.
Cam Newton.
Oh, the best number 1 on the board over there, Larry Fitz. Cam Newton wore 2 in college, by the way.
You're right.
He was one in Carolina. Larry Fitz wore 1 in college.
Wasn't Tavon Austin number 1?
Tavon Austin was number 1. Might have wore 11. Wore 11 in Pro Ball, but wore 1 at West Virginia. You are correct there.
West Virginia.
Sonny Michel.
Sonny
Michel rock 1.
Percy Harvin wore 12. Percy Harvin was number 12.
Oh, we missed.
That was a good 12.
Yeah, it was a good 12.
Chris Rainey was number 1 on those Florida teams that were really good.
I feel like we're missing some really legendary ones. Justin Fields wore 1. Wore 2 at Georgia though, didn't he? No, he wore 2 in the league.
He wore 1 at Georgia.
Wore 1 at Georgia.
We're definitely missing.
We're missing a legendary one. I guarantee it.
I don't see one from chat right now hitting on it.
All right. So maybe not. All right, one more?
Yeah,
let's
go one more.
We got to end on a stronger note than that. That's surprising. There's a lot. You think there's a lot?
You think? Well, one's kind of like a forbidden number at a lot of programs because you don't want to be
right.
All right, 5. Reggie Bush,
Christian McCaffrey,
Michael Crabtree.
Oh,
Yeah,
they had strong lists already.
Strong list already.
What about some Teddy Bridgewater love?
Oh, talk to me. Teddy Bridgewater had his soul taken from him in a bowl game against Florida. Do y'all remember that hit? Oh my God, he almost died, man.
That was right before.
Almost died. There's been some great wide receivers that have worn 5. A.D. Mitchell wore 5.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels did wear 5.
Heisman winner.
Yeah. It's a good call there.
Who else?
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson wore 5.
Garrett Wilson was a 5.
Yeah. Some good numbers in the 5.
Ringo.
I don't think he fits in this category.
I mean, when you a natty.
Yeah.
Georgia legacy play.
Georgia legacy play.
Legendary college football name for a play.
Yeah.
Keely Ringo, I would put in the same vein as like Chris Davis.
Did Bijan wear 5 at Texas?
Bijan did wear 5.
Yeah, he did. Bijan Robinson was a great college football player. Not as good as Reggie. Reggie best 5 to ever wear it.
Hard to argue against that.
Yeah. I think we're all in agreement there. All right. Well, that was fun. That took up way more time than I thought it would, too.
Garrison Hurst. That's the Georgia player you need to be.
Yeah, that's a dog shout right there.
Yeah.
Dogs barking in the chat. Monte Te'o, fake girlfriend, wore 5. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Dang.
Defensive love at the 5.
Oh, Pep wore 5. Jabril Peppers.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah.
The
That's a
multi
good shout, too.
Good game. Hey, ESPN had an article today.
They did. Which one?
Heather Dinich.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got some intel on what the future of college football is going to look like. I got bullet points I read, so you don't have to. Kirby read this as well as
I did
too. So awesome.
Read?
We got 2 readers here.
I can read, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Hell yeah. Bullet point number 1. We're definitely going to 14. The only debate is whether or not we're going to 16 and how soon. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's happening. They need unanimous vote to approve the SEC and Big Ten changes, which are no auto buys and 14 teams. They probably won't get unanimous voting in 2025, but it doesn't matter because in 2026, they get to do whatever the hell they want with the college football playoff, which led us to the discussion point pre-show. If you're the Big 12, if you're the ACC, if you're a mid-major collective of schools, don't you just yield power because you know you're gonna get hammered next year anyways? Why wouldn't you just be like, all right, you guys are the boss. We'll get on your side. We'll carry favor here by just giving you what you want now instead of fighting it for 12 months like a fake fight.
Well, I mean, the way you got to look at it if you're the Big 12 is, and especially this goes for the Group of 5, is our best window to get in the playoff to maybe have a Cinderella run team is right now because we have these auto bids.
Buys.
Auto buys or whatever. What is stepping on the toes of the SEC and the Big Ten going to hurt us any? Like, how is the SEC and the Big Ten going to come down? They're already going to basically trying to choke us out either way. Mm-hmm. Like, you feel like the fate of the Group of 5 and the Big 12 and the other conferences is already somewhat sealed just because it's very clear the SEC and Big Ten want to kind of choke these conferences out and eventually get to the point where they swallow them all and create a 2 super conference. So, stepping on the toes of them and prolonging it as long as you can, I don't think is going to hurt. I think being submissive would be more detrimental to college football.
Mm-hmm.
No thoughts?
Not really.
Yeah. Sankey wants to know about how they're going to actually rank strength of schedule before he agrees to go to 9 conference games.
I kind of love this, actually.
I do too. I think this is smart from him, and this is why I try to explain to you guys that commissioners are just whipping post for their owners, or in this case, the presidents at the school. Quote, this is from Sankey. My members want to understand how is strength of schedule fully evaluated in the selection room. Is it the number on the left-hand side of the column during the regular season or on the right-hand side of the column? Those are what I would say are outcomes that have to be understood and analyzed, and then they inform decisions. Basically what he's saying is like, look, y'all are asking me to go to 9 conference games while also not telling me if you account strength of schedule into the final decision making on these rankings. And if you don't, then why would I schedule another conference game knowing that all of my conference games are really, really tough to win and increase my strength of schedule? Why would I make things harder on myself if you're not rewarding me for making them harder on myself? To what I would respond to that is, there is an SEC buffer, by the way. You get an additional loss. We had 10-2 teams ranked ahead of 11-1 teams this year coming out of the SEC. You're given the benefit of the doubt by these rankings already, and the history says that you have been given the benefit of the doubt.
I would like to
now
see,
he wants it in paper.
I think what really hurt that argument is the fact that you had a 9-3 Alabama, a 9-3 South Carolina, where people were really saying these are one of the 12 best teams they should be in, and they got left out. I think if you don't have that, I think if South Carolina and Alabama lose another game somewhere along the way, and there's a clear cutoff of like Georgia and Texas at the top, and then all these other teams, you throw Ole Miss in there.
Yeah.
I think the fact that you had so many valid arguments for, well, that's a top 12 team and they have 3 losses really hurt that, especially when all 3 of the losses came within the conference.
And to Sankey's point, if you add an additional conference game, you're only going to increase the odds that this happens perennially.
Exactly.
You're going to have more of these 9-3 teams that feel as if they're one of the best 12 teams in college football.
I would like to see college football create something like what college basketball has. Like, I know that college football has FPI, just like college baseball has RPI and all this stuff, but I would like to see them have this category of like college basketball does quad 1 wins, quad 2 wins, and things like that. So like college football puts on a base level of ranked win. Well, what's a ranked win? Is it someone that's already in the top 25 when you play them, or is it someone that's currently in the top 25? I think putting it in categories like college basketball does of here's your record against quad 1 teams, quad 2 teams. I think that would provide some clarity when having these conversations of, well, is the 11-1 team considered better right now, or should it be the 10-2 SEC team? I think that would create a better conversation around that.
You know what's a great conversation?
What's that?
My all-22 all-time team.
Ooh. Okay.
These are guys that I've studied on tape that I love the most since 2019. Do you want this list?
That's what, 6 seasons now? Let's hear the list.
6 seasons.
How many Georgia players are on this list?
On the national list, 2 tight ends. I think you can guess.
Yeah.
2 tackles. That's it.
Really?
Yeah. On the offense. And then on the defense, it's all dogs and Bama guys.
That's fair.
All right. So offensively, I'm going to have to take Joe Burrow here. And it wasn't just all of the accuracy from within the pocket. It wasn't just the deep shots. More so than any quarterback I have ever studied on tape. If you let Joe Burrow outside of the pocket into a pseudo scramble drill where he is running perpendicular to the line of scrimmage, it wasn't a question. It was a guarantee. This dude's about to hit you with a 60-yard bomb. Like, this dude's going to hit somebody that has recognized he has escaped the pocket and gone north, all right? And he's going to hit that guy in a basket, dropped like a dot, all right, in that guy's hands for a touchdown. Over and over again, more so than any quarterback I've ever studied, Burrow's ability to, like, maximize the offense's output off script was phenomenal. On top of the fact that we all know what he is as a pocket passer nowadays in terms of an accurate decision maker and processor at the position, Burrow was phenomenal to study for more so than just, wow, look at all the yards he's putting up. Running back, I'm going to have to take Genty and prime Najee Harris. Watching Najee Harris in a Steve Sarkisian offense at Alabama, being the fact that he was, damn near 6'3", 235 pounds, and the movement patterns of that guy, the athleticism that he possessed, the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, the screens that they used with that guy, watching him at Alabama, in my opinion, was like peak running back in college for me that I have studied recently. And then, of course, Genty. Genty is a rolling ball of butcher knives. That's what he is. The idea that you're going to get that guy on the ground with one dude is just... it's not possible. It's not going to happen. Can't wait to see what he looks like on the NFL. Now, the X position was really interesting to me. It was hard to pick. I really enjoyed watching Pickens as a football player at Georgia when he was on the field. It was tremendously fun. Also, a very much so backyard football player. Kind of just did whatever the hell he wanted. You were going to have to throw him the ball wherever he was at. Oh, they've got, quarters today. Coach, I know I'm supposed to be running a curl. They quarter matching. We gonna Hugo this thing right quick. Just hang out and just throw me the ball, Jake Fromm, or else I'm gonna yell at you. It really enjoyed him, but studying Jeremiah Smith right now is very freakish. This is one of these ones. On to the Z position. I selected Justin Jefferson, but I have a hard time not picking Devontae Smith here. Just because of all the things that Sark did to him. Watching Sark at Alabama in 2020 was like, oh, the tree no longer exists. What we grew up on. Hey, we're going to run a 9 route. Hey, we're going to run a 7. Hey, we're going to run a 5. Hey, a slant's a 3. It didn't exist watching Sark. Sark's a very play-action-based guy. It was, hey, you're at the Z in the slot. run as fast as you can to that green grass over there. Mac Jones is going to hit you. It reinvented the tree for me. There was no tree. It was let's run to grass. That is what has become the new system, if you will, with all these deep over concepts, all these benders, all these things we see nowadays that are backside of man beaters, right? We got man beaters over here. We got zone beaters over here. That was kind of my first initiation to it. Really enjoyed studying that. Left tackle, I'm taking Broderick Jones, even though Broderick Jones wasn't the best tackle I've ever studied. He was the most fun tackle I've ever studied. Do yourself a favor one day. Go turn on the 2021 SEC Championship game. I think that's what it was.
I believe it was a national championship.
It was a national championship.
Was it? Natty. Turn that one on. Justin Schaefer gets hurt for the University of Georgia. They have to kick Jamari Sawyer into left guard, and they throw a redshirt freshman Broderick Jones over there at left tackle in front of Will Anderson in a national title game. And it's basically like watching a power forward try to stay in front of LeBron James in his prime. That's what it was like. It was like watching a wing defender that had no idea what he was doing as an offensive lineman stay in front of one of the best edge rushers we've ever seen in college football, at least in terms of like an extremely high-effort football player. Broderick basically played basketball in front of him for 4 quarters, and it was like watching somebody who God just gave the abilities to play tackle but didn't teach him how to actually do it. Block one of the best players we've ever watched. It was extremely fun to watch. The best player I've ever watched at left tackle is by far, hands down, Andrew Thomas. The best left guard I've watched, at least my favorite, is Tyler Booker from Alabama. Tyler Booker has the best push-pull technique I've ever seen on tape and gets away with the most holds you'll ever see an offensive guard get with. The push-pull technique, simple as I can explain it, I have a defensive lineman in front of me. I get my right hand up under or on his shoulder pad on his left pectoral, and I get my left hand up underneath his right armpit. I pull down with my right hand. I push up with my left hand as I'm trying to move him to his left, my right. That torque right there, that torque ultimately gets the body to lean. He got so many dumped pancakes on that type of block. He's my favorite to watch so far. Also, just nasty as shit. Just a nasty, nasty football player. Love him. Parker Brailsford, the center from Alabama right now, probably my favorite center to study over the last 6 years. A pure athletic eval. Dude gets the spots that you shouldn't as a center. Also has a really, really good base and foundation in his core. Is never leaning in a bad body positioning. It's why he gets away with being 6'2", 290 pounds essentially, and handling 330-pound individuals on a consistent basis on the interior of that offensive line. Now, the only guy that ventures outside of my time range as a media personality from 2019 on is Quentin Nelson on this list. Quentin Nelson was the best guard I've ever studied coming out into the draft out of Notre Dame. The ability, I told you about a play that he made at Notre Dame. He's in pass protection. He's supposed to be scanning to his right. He realizes there's no immediate threat, so immediately cues, the left side must be vulnerable. Takes a kick step backwards, opens up his left hip, sprints to the left side of the offensive line, and just by happenstance finds the free hitter, the linebacker, and just obliterates him, just demolishes him. And that type of, you have very unique instincts. You have very unique mental acuity on this football field. On top of the fact that you're one of the best physical specimens to ever play this position. Turns out he's been like a 8-year, 9-year All-Pro. Just a freak of nature and has continued to be that in the NFL. And now right tackle. Give me Warren McClendon.
Really?
Give me Warren McClendon. Now, I know you might say, but Brooksy, way better offensive tackles. Way better.
I was thinking you were going to go with Joe Alt.
Yeah, like a blue chipper. Give me a first rounder, Brooksy. I know you like Joe Alt. I did like Joe Alt. But here's the thing about these 5-star blue chippers. Don't be a first rounder at the right tackle position. Hey, coach, I need this big money. I need to play left tackle. You know who I never have to worry about coming into my room as a college football coach saying, hey, man, I played it on an all-conference level at right side last year. Let me flip over to left. Warren McClendon. I never have to worry about that. And by the way, Warren McClendon started played in 13 games this year as a tackle and a swing tackle on the Sunday League. Warren McClendon, one of the cleanest prospects I've ever studied at the tackle position.
It is true that you value cleanliness and just being able to do everything technically right. And I think that is kind of the past.
Oh, he's the poster child for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, the past of as a player myself. Yeah, it's what do you call that? A weakness in my scouting profile for sure.
The bias of it.
Yeah, no, I have definitely a bias for technically sound football players who physically aren't what they're supposed to be to play that. It's why I loved Isaiah Wynn so damn much. Oh my God, did I love Isaiah Wynn? But it's also why Isaiah Wynn's been I think he's on his third team right now. You know, because he's not 6'6".
Nope.
He doesn't have 35-inch arms. Questions about Amarius Mims in there. Amarius Mims fits into a George Pickens category for me.
Fair.
We didn't get to see a ton of Amarius Mims.
You got, I think you got 10 total starts of Amarius.
Yeah. We didn't see a ton of them. Played good football while he played, but we just didn't see a ton of them. All right, on to the defensive side of the football. Nose tackle, simple and easy. Give me Jordan Davis.
Fair enough.
Defensive tackle, give me Jalen Carter. But I am fond of Devontae Wyatt.
Oh, yeah.
Devontae Wyatt, you know why?
Why?
Bow-legged. Bow-legged Devontae Wyatt. I love me some Devontae Wyatt. Defensive end. Give me Will Anderson over Trayvon Walker. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you guys remember, there was that time period where Alabama was like, hey, we have to get this Dallas Turner guy onto the field. So they moved a 245-pound Will Anderson into defensive end. He bulked up to about 255, and that's kind of what he's playing now in the league, and he is dominant. Very high-effort football player. I would take Trayvon Walker closely behind him. Jack, this is easy for me. I am the Azeez Ojulari defender. I think Azeez Ojulari was one of the funnest players to study that I've studied on tape in a long time, and would be up there in that like top 5 players for me. He was everything that Nolan Smith is broadcast to be now in terms of a 6'2" 1/4", 248-pound guy that set the edge like a banshee. That's exactly what Azeez Ojulari is. Now, the difference between Azeez and Nolan, Azeez had a very unique ability to convert run to pass on play action. And that twitch that Nolan has, Azeez had it too and still does, but just not to the extent because of the injuries. His ability to realize, hey, they gave me a run fit. Now it's pass. I'm going to shuck this guy and then use that immediate twitch that I have in my body to bring a sack down. Azeez Ojulari, best run to pass converter I've studied. Period. Close second, J.J. Watt.
When did you study J.J. Watt?
During the year where, during the 5, 6, 7 year span of any time you watch NFL Sunday, you're watching J.J. Watt just manhandle humans.
Yep. Okay, I didn't know if you did like a breakdown on it.
No. Never broke into the all-22. Didn't need to.
That's fair.
Yeah, J.J.'s ability to convert run to pass.
I mean, he is top 3 greatest defensive players of all time. So
yeah, Mike linebacker. Give me Nakobe Dean. Will linebacker. Here's where I piss some folks off. Give me Jihad Campbell. I think there is a really good chance that Jihad Campbell 4 years from now is the best linebacker in the NFL. 6'3", 242 pounds, runs like a deer, complete like eraser in the pass department as well. So other thing that people don't talk about with this guy, his ability to drop and get into windows and be that big, that long, that athletic, insane.
You've been hiring him for a while too.
Very. I was hiring him coming out of high school, coming out of IMG Academy. Star.
Ooh, who's he going with?
Star. Freshman Tyreek Stevenson, 2019 versus Auburn. That one game. Just give me that one game over and over and over again.
I'd still go.
You're taking him over the guy.
Over all of them.
Over the guy that you said, give me 22 Javon Bullards and I'll go play football?
Yeah. The take's coming back to bite him.
One game outweighs all of that.
Give me Javon.
You don't remember how good it was. You don't. I told Jonathan, we're set to leave this studio tomorrow at 2:00. Jonathan has to show up an hour early so we can watch Tyreek Stevenson versus Auburn 2019.
He's a great player.
Because do we have Epic Pin up?
I can get it up.
I don't even need it. There is a play in that fourth quarter of that Auburn game where Bo Nix is losing his ever-loving mind. Do y'all remember?
Oh, yeah.
Bo Nix is losing his mind, going irate against that Georgia defense in 2019. There's a play on 3rd and 8, I believe it was. Tyreek Stevenson is in a double mugged look over A-gap, ball on the right hash. Kirby, he gets under the first window of a dig at the top of the numbers.
Whoa. That's all the ground to cover.
A lot of ground to cover. Freak. And then later on in that football game, rushes as a free hat off the edge, catches Bo Nix in a scramble to his right, overhand swipes the ball, strip sack fumble, 18-year-old freshman who was playing corner 7 months ago in high school football.
Oh, what could have been?
Man, what could have been? But just I wanted to be a corner coach. I want to be a corner coach. Hey, first round draft pick, second round draft pick.
I think it's second round.
Second round draft pick.
He got paid.
He got paid. Not a terrible decision for him. Some of the decisions made as a professional, not so much.
Yeah. No.
Oh, I forgot about those.
Yeah. Pretty famous Hail Mary.
Taunting fans in the middle of a Hail Mary.
Yeah,
not a great idea.
Not a good look.
Oh, Chicago.
Top 5 things you are most... Oh, I forgot corners and safeties. Caleb Downs and Malachi Starks are my 2 safeties.
Easy.
By far. 2 corners. Pat Surtain.
Really? You know what? I'm surprised you didn't try to squeeze Richard LeCounte in here.
Oh, he's
have
coming
an
on the
affinity.
local hour. Don't you worry. He's coming on the local hour. But you thought I was going to pass up
I
Malachi
get it.
Starks
I get it.
for Richie. I do love Richie. I even told him. I think we tried to get him on the show. I haven't followed back up. He said he was down. I just, me scheduling guests is not ideal. Pat Surtain and Kamari Lassiter are my 2 corners.
Understandable.
The Surtain
Absolutely
tape out of
fair.
Alabama was phenomenal.
That's
And
very good tape.
he's kind of an eraser now in the league, isn't he?
He's he's probably a top 5 corner.
Yeah. So it's worked out.
PS2.
What else did I have? Oh, top 5 things we're most looking forward to covering the NFL Combine.
Oh, I did one of these.
We'll close the national hour with this. Don't worry. We got a loaded local hour coming up. We just got to get these topics done. I'll go first. Top 5. Number 5. The car show. The show from the car. I'm excited about this. Number 4. Media Row. And you guys will find this out. I think you learned this last time we were in Indy. When you see the players that you've been covering for 3 or 4 or 5 years now, when you see them at this event, they recognize your face and they immediately treat you differently than everybody else. It's very, very unique. Yeah, a few daps, a few bro hugs, it was a pleasure, a couple of those. There's a little sentimental Brooksy here. Number 3, QB night. I love watching them spin it. You know me. Number 2, the convenience of the event.
Yes.
I was telling Jonathan this before the show. No need for even a bird scooter. Like, you don't need an Uber. You don't need shit. You don't need a rental car. You don't need nothing in Indianapolis. There's only like 5 places to go.
It is fun to bird around, though, I will say.
Yeah, we're gonna get a scoot on. Don't you worry about that. We're going to get some scoots going on downtown Indy. But it's just convenience. But convenience because ain't shit else to do. Number 1. The I Don't Belong Here's, a.k.a. working the net. I can't wait to work the net this weekend, or this week up in Indianapolis, bumping into people I ain't got no business talking to.
Oh, yeah.
I also have 2 things I'm not looking forward to. Do you want those now?
What are you not looking forward to?
Just go ahead.
All right. Number 2, shrimp cocktail. Okay, you folks up there in Indianapolis, y'all just all big bad about your shrimp cocktail from that one restaurant. And really all it is just big jumbo shrimp that I can pick up at the Publix frozen with the tail off and a bunch of cocktail sauce with it just ain't nothing but horseradish. Ooh. And it's just really, really spicy cocktail sauce that you serve to every visitor and every bypasser in your town, and you shove it down your throat and you make them like it, and we don't like it. Not looking forward to it. Number 1 thing I'm not looking forward to, and this is my biggest pet peeve in media right now. You ready?
Oh boy.
What do you got?
Biggest pet peeve. And it's really, it started with me at the Indianapolis Combine last year, and then it started showing up at big events this year in college football, national title, Sugar Bowl, all the other things we're covering. All these TikTok personalities that show up on Media Row, I'm trying to ask a real professional question. Meanwhile, I got man over here in a Dallas Cowboys jersey with sunglasses on inside, interrupting the entire media press pool, trying to get a joke off for his TikTok. Not here for it. Don't care how big his impressions are. Don't really give a shit if he's got 150,000 followers on TikTok. It's a nuisance, and trust me, the player hates it too. Get off my lawn.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for that one. My top 5. I don't really have an order for this at all, so I'm just going to read off the 5.
Come on.
Seeing the prospects from a closer perspective, I've seen the Georgia players on the field before in warm-ups and whatnot, but getting to see all of them in like an in-person setting, kind of getting a better idea of how large or even small some of these humans are, just getting like an up-close look at all these upcoming prospects in the league. Number 2, just experiencing something new. I've been in the college setting. I've only ever covered collegiate events. This is like my first and only introduction to like professional sports, of covering something too that I've never done anything like this before. I've covered football games, I've done basketball and baseball. I've never done something like this.
Would you agree that they tend to care a whole lot less about the media on NFL events.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. But again, something new.
You can use it to your advantage though, because they're not like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" They're just like, "It's fucking media. We don't give a shit."
And then you go into the stadium and they don't have anything for you. No Wi-Fi.
Nope.
No place to sit.
Nope.
You just sit up in the stands.
But you can just meander around and you can get in the hallway about where they come. Let's not.
Yeah.
Let's not put game out too much.
Yeah. No.
You may or may not be able to just walk down the hall with the future number 1 overall draft pick while he's talking with his agent and overhear some conversations. And no one's going to bat an eye because you've got the credential.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Number 3, seeing the inner workings of the event. Kind of what they just kind of introduced to me of this. Just all I see is people doing 40-yard dash and whatnot on TV, and now I get to kind of see it up in person. Number 4, seeing a new town. Now, I don't go up north a whole lot. This is going to be one of the few times I have, so seeing a new town, Indianapolis, excited for that. And then number 5, getting back into the workspace. When you get into the offseason for us, you're away from your typical grind of the season of going and covering things, interviews and whatnot. Excited to get back into that type of setting.
You guys basically covered all mine, so I'll go to the only 2 that you didn't really say. The first one I'm excited for is to see what media outlet is going to fall for the whatever player does whatever impressive thing is up there on the board. Last year was Joe Milton throwing the ball 70 yards. It happens every year. It's very fun. It's also very fun to watch media members fall asleep in the media section. Remember last year we saw that?
Oh my God. That was the hardest core nap I've ever seen in public in my life. I thought Buddy's neck was going to snap.
Dude, he was out.
He hit it forwards and backwards. He hit the nosedive forwards and backwards in the middle of an NFL combine. It was crazy work.
Crazy. Last one I had was seeing crazy NFL fans cheer for literally everything.
Yeah.
You got to remember, none of these players are on a team right now.
None.
So anytime anyone does something good, the entire arena erupts. Like, yeah.
Draft him.
That's who we want.
Gotta have him.
You should have been there when Xavier Worthy broke the record.
Oh, God, I can't even imagine.
The pop, there was
It was a pop.
20,000 people
Dude,
in that
there was
stadium.
pops when fat guys were running 4.8s.
Yeah.
Woo! Blonde guy from Montana State just ran a 4.81. Woo! Hey, we got a whole nother hour coming up right now, and it's our best hour. Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? Really like that. You really like that? Let's shut up and grab some tape. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into another hour. It is our loaded local hour. We got a great one for you. Jared Curtis, the number 1 quarterback in 2026, officially down to 2 schools, Oregon and Georgia. I'll give you the latest details on that one. Paul Feinbaum playing the hits this offseason. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Nolan Smith, no longer a human. Just has vaulted out of human status into legendary status. We'll talk about that tonight as well. Georgia has a very unique strategy to their spring game in comparison to other programs in national college football. And Kirby took some shots today at a legend in college football.
Fireball shots.
A little joke, a little fireball shot at him. So yeah, welcome into our Loaded Out Local Hour. It is a great one. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you have not already. If you've not subscribed to the network, please feel free to do so today. If you miss any portion of tonight's broadcast, it will be made readily available. However, wherever you get your podcast, quick shout out to our friends over at BetUS. If you have not already, head over to BetUS today. Use promo code YouTube150. You'll get 150% deposit match up to $2,000 on your first deposit and 125% deposit match on your next 2 deposits. Again, that is BetUS, promo code YouTube150. To get in on the action today. We appreciate those guys for supporting us all the way back since August. They've been with us for a fat minute, so we appreciate those folks over there. Now, let's talk about Jared Curtis. By far and away the number 1 quarterback on the board for the University of Georgia. Only person anywhere close to this type of grade is Faison Brandon, who is very, very much so locked up his commitment to Tennessee. So it's Jared Curtis or seemingly bust for basically everybody in 2026. All the big boys, and it's been narrowed down to Oregon and Georgia. Now, I don't know Jared Curtis personally. I've never even interviewed the young man. That's a false or a bad thing on my part. I guess you would call that a negative on my part. I probably should reach out to him at some point, considering how great of a prospect he ultimately is. But just wanted to preface that by letting you know that everything I know about him is what I'm being told about him, not what I have sought out and figured out myself. Okay, so here's what I know about this recruitment from talking to sources. There's been two names that are very, very playing pivotal roles for both of these programs, and they're both offensive coordinators. Will Stein, the offensive coordinator at Oregon, is playing a major role in the recruitment of Jared Curtis, and Mike Bobo is playing a major role in the recruitment of Jared Curtis. Both very favorable. It's why they have been narrowed down to the top two. I am told Mike Bobo has ties and is really close to the family. I'm told Will Stein is perhaps what Jared Curtis has spoken most fondly of, if you will. Now, here's where this gets really, really interesting, particularly for the people in my mentions over the last, 6 months. You constantly want Mike Bobo fired. Now, having Mike Bobo on your staff might be one of the best things in this recruitment, not only because they are very favorable with the Curtis, or he is very favorable with the Curtis family, but you now have an upper hand in this recruitment, in my opinion, because if you look at the track of Will Stein, guys, Will Stein was the offensive coordinator at Lake Travis High School in 2019. 5 years ago, this dude was an offensive coordinator for a high school football program.
Six now.
He is 35 years old. He is arguably the hottest name in offensive coordinating lore. If I'm Georgia, if I'm Jared Curtis's agent, I think there's a realistic conversation about the idea that Will Stein is probably not going to be your offensive coordinator by the time you graduate Oregon or leave for the NFL. Odds are Mike Bobo is the offensive coordinator at the University of Georgia. The loyalty, the consistency, the continuity of this staff at the University of Georgia that you hate and that you want to get rid of, not all of you, but some of you, the loud minority of you, actually is playing favor, in my opinion, in this recruitment.
What's easier to sell between the two? The fact that Will Stein's probably not going to be there, he's going to take another job within the next 2 to 3 seasons, or that Mike Bobo's job security within the next 2 or 3 seasons? Because the outside is heavy on him.
You mean like heavy with criticism?
Correct.
Right now? Yeah, it's louder than ever before right now with Bobo. I think there's been obvious signs of this guy ain't leaving us. If he survives this offseason, I think he's fine. You know what I mean?
Fair to say.
True.
I mean, it's been loud this offseason.
I guess, like, for speaking from a Georgia perspective, this very much so reminds me of the Arch Manning recruitment. Of Georgia went all in on Arch, like basically said, "This is our guy. We're going 100% after him. If we don't get him, we're scrambling trying to find another guy in this class." Is it kind of that type of vibe to where Georgia is either going to get Jared Curtis, or they might have to scramble and find a guy, or just not even skip this class?
I don't think they're ever going to go back to skipping a class.
Yeah.
You know, if they miss on Curtis, which, by the way, it seems to me like he might wrap it up. He's taking very early visits, right?
I mean, you're already down to 2, and it seems like most of these quarterbacks are now one and done before their season starts.
So, and same thing with Arch. I think that was a July commitment to Texas. You kind of have that 6 months to go about seeing what you want to do in the class. The difference was with Arch, it was like, hey, if you're recruiting me, you're recruiting nobody else. I don't hear this from this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't believe that if like, for Christ's sakes, Oregon has a commit in 2025, right? Or 2026.
They just got him.
Yeah.
So clearly this guy doesn't care if you recruit anybody else. So you can go about building your backup plans with this in mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Whereas with Arch, you were all in. You had to be per the camp. You recruit us and you don't recruit anybody else. The only, even Bama, I think, I don't know what they took Lonergan in 2024, didn't they? Yeah, so they moved out, but they were the third of the top 3 there. It was Georgia and Texas and Alabama is what it seemed. So interesting. I would go all in, like I said, with the Curtis thing. And it sounds like, I mean, not only he's reported it, he got a seat at the final table, which is big time. You know, but Bobo can't recruit, so
No, can't do anything.
This guy just sucks.
Kirby Smart's too loyal to him.
Yeah, it's just loyalty, man.
To a fault.
You just gotta get rid of those guys.
It's actually like creating a dip for Georgia.
Yeah, what you can't have is loyalty among your staff. No. And you can't show loyalty, because if you do, you don't get to keep guys like Glenn Schumann around, Trey Scott,
Todd Hartley,
Todd Monken, or Todd Hartley. Yeah. I think we've beat that horse. All right. Speaking of beating horses, Paul Feinbaum.
Oh,
Playing the damn hits, boys. Playing the hits. Read this quote today.
All right, this comes from Paul Feinbaum.
Yeah, whose show was he on? Who needed him to come say some shit?
Greg McElroy.
You know what, Paul? I might extend a invite for you to come on here and say some stuff because it gets read.
Yeah.
Gets clicks. We're going to be Paul Feinbaum said this felonious thing about program on the Film Guy Network. That'd look cool.
Yeah, it would look cool.
Well, maybe we do it.
Well, this is what
he's
he
been
had
on before, hadn't he?
No.
This is what he had to say this time around. Speaking of Georgia, of course, he said, I don't feel great because I do think they took a dip. And I think just like we used to with Nick Saban, expect him to play for a national championship, and losing the title game felt like a lost cause. It's almost that way with Georgia, and I felt like they underperformed. I mean, they came through at the right moment against Texas, but they had so many disappointing moments. But there were just so many decisions made, and talking to the fans every day, Greg, whether it's true or it's imagined, they do not like Mike Bobo. Even slid in some more Mike Bobo hatred. He also went on to say, I don't feel great about Georgia. Now, what does that mean? They're still a playoff team. They just don't feel like a national championship team right now.
Who does?
Now, he also mentioned in this same quote that he doesn't feel alarmed by Georgia, but he did say if they don't make anything happen in the playoffs again, questions shall be asked of Kirby Smart.
Ooh, shall be.
We did it.
This is the old playing the hits. He did this all offseason last year about Dabo Swinney. And here are the 3 hits. You ready? Here's what I hear every time Paul goes to take and fire a coach. These 3 hits every single time. He will never get back to where he was. That's a go-to. He did that last year with Dabo. He's basically doing that now here. Taking a step back, probably not going to get back to where he was. People that I talk to aren't happy. Now, I ain't never heard a happy phone call on Feinbaum. I thought that was kind of like the whole thing. We only take calls from people who are upset. That's why it plays so well in the ratings. The other one, he's got to make whole-scale changes, right? We got to make massive changes on this football program that, was only a quarterfinalist last year. We got to make whole-scale changes. Everything's got to change, just like he did last year with Clemson.
Yeah.
Now, in defense of Paul, I think the ones that he made about Clemson and even, Ohio State.
Transfer and NIL based.
Not even that. Were much more declarative than they were Georgia. Like, his more is like, I don't feel great. It's something to keep an eye on. If this happens, we need to start saying X about Kirby Smart. Like, it's not like he's firing Kirby Smart and saying he'll never be what he once was. Or he did say they've taken a step back. But again, like, we've kind of went over this. I feel like everyone in college football has taken a step.
Well, not only that, I mean, you tell me right now today who you feel like is a national title team. Like, full certainty right now, you feel like if you pick them today, like, oh yeah, that team is going to win a national title.
I think for certain Oregon's going to get a top 5 bid.
Because of the schedule.
Fine.
Because of the schedule. And that's it.
That's it.
That's all I have.
And Oregon lost their quarterback. And there's tons of questions you can make about Dan Lanning and his roster this year. They lost some key pieces and whatnot. So, like, you'd have a hard time right now picking a team to say, oh, this team definitely shoe-in feels like a national title contender. I still feel like people are putting Georgia in that realm. I mean, for heck, I think they have the second best national title odds right now, according to most betting sites. So clearly people still, and that may just be like the Kirby Smart rule right now of they always are going to feel like one of these teams in the preseason. But
I think if you individually look at Georgia and go, man, they lost a lot of talent. They were returning like 45% of talent. It's one of the worst in the country. Like, they're not returning a lot of talent. They're losing a starting quarterback. They've taken a step back. Absolutely true. But then you go, well, Texas is not returning a lot of talent. They're losing a starting quarterback. They've taken a step. Like, you could go down the list and do this for every single team. So I'm not saying what Paul Feinbaum is declaring is wrong at all, but it's also like when the entire country is taking a step back, it's not like Georgia took a step back and then everyone else took a step forward.
Yeah.
The entire country, the entire sport as a whole, the talent, as we've talked about, is evening out, is spreading out. So everyone's going to be taking steps back from where they were 2 or 3 years ago. Like that 2021 roster, those 2022 rosters, you're not going to see those again at Georgia.
Yeah. And look, I don't think there's any doubt that Georgia fans are rightful in their criticisms about the starts to these football games, particularly the first halves of these football games. And it's getting to a point now where I feel as if I'm a Mike Bobo defender. Like, I have to come on here and and stand for the guy, it feels like, because everybody wants to smoke him. And the starts weren't good. There's no doubt about it. The start against Clemson, though, like instead of, let's do these off the top of my head. Instead of these being excuses, imagine that you could accept these as explanations, okay? Slow start against Clemson. Now, why did they start slow against Clemson?
First game of the season, didn't know.
First game of the season, didn't know. Clemson's a man-to-man blitz football team. They showed up playing single high, off man cover, or off cover 3 coverage. Completely different style of defense than they had shown for years on tape. So, yeah, first half, a little bit slow. Next football games are mid-major washes.
Tennessee
and then
Tech.
Tennessee
Kentucky.
Tech. All right, started slow against Kentucky. We got busted assignments left and right. We got left tackles busting assignments. We got wide receivers and tight ends busting assignments. We're 3rd and 8 in our own end. We call a perfect tunnel screen. It gets dropped out there. Or no, we miss a block with Urasek out there on the left side. So, like, you call these me blaming players. I see plays that were called that, if executed, win at a relatively high rate, by the way, didn't get executed. Go to Alabama.
Yep.
First possession of the football game, you got a 45-yard reception, a slot fade to Arian, or a go ball to Arian Smith, dropped in a bucket by Carson Beck. Balls dropped, punt. The very next possession, Arian Smith on a 3rd and 4 gets called into a tunnel screen. And the entire offense gets the check. Arian Smith does not. It's an interception. 3rd and 8 against Georgia Tech, drop. 3rd and 8, the next possession against Georgia Tech, drop. You call these things excuses. In my opinion, again, right here from Spank Mableton, all I hear is excuses. No, all you hear is explanations. You just don't like the offensive coordinator that you blame them on.
I think too, like going.
What is the point of doing film study? What is the point of? And I'm not saying that you only come here because of my football knowledge, but that's what you're here for, I would imagine, other than the entertainment. All right. So when I tell you, and I get frustrated, at this point, I'm frustrated. My face is red. At this point, when I get frustrated with the topic of, for years, explaining it to y'all in the film, and you still just, you're an idiot. Fire him. Yeah, the highest paid football coach who's won 2 of the last 3 national titles. An idiot too.
4.
They're 4. 2 of the last 4. All idiots. All just dumb. All stupid. Fire him. Sorry.
Hey, you haven't done one of those in a while.
It's just, man.
It's kind of fun to watch.
It's frustrating, man.
It is frustrating, and I think too, like going back to Paul's comments of him saying. And I think just like we used to at Nick Saban, expecting to play for a national championship and losing the title game felt like a lost cause. I mean, you're already putting unfair expectations on a program because Kirby Smart is who he is. This program has accomplished what they have over the last 4 years. Like, to call a program national title or bust, and now entering a time of college football where winning a national title is the hardest it has ever been, expanding a college football playoff field to 12 teams, of those teams getting a shot. I mean, just putting like those types of expectations on the program, you're going to be disappointed more times than not.
On frickin' cue. On cue. Comment on the last Bobo sub episode. Quote, Bobo has to go. I hate Bobo apologists. His track record speaks for itself. Let's talk about his track record, shall we? Y'all want to talk about his track record?
Here we go.
All right. Who's the offensive coordinator who has 2 of the highest points per game totals in the last 20 years of Georgia football? Anybody know? Yes, sir, in the front row.
Mike Bobo?
It's not Todd Monken. It's not Todd Monken?
I don't know.
It's not. Okay. But he won but Monken won the 2 national titles. So
yeah.
You know.
He did.
Nolan Smith, not really human.
No.
Nolan Smith, not really
Far
human.
from it.
A happy topic. Let's talk about a happy topic. I love the reporting on this, by the way. Do you have a tricep per arm? Or is it your triceps? Is it plural?
There's multiple, like it's
there's multiple muscles in your one singular
there's
tricep.
Multiple heads within it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You know, you got a good tricep. You got a little peak on it, right?
Yeah.
A little triangle.
Yeah.
Nolan Smith played the entire second half of a Super Bowl with torn triceps.
Yeah.
Freak.
And didn't say one thing about it. Did plenty of
No, it wouldn't even come out.
Did player interviews after, was on camera multiple times after the Super Bowl, was being very boisterous about how happy he was. Gave a shout out to Georgia football. Athens, Georgia. Was celebrating in the parade a few days later, having a good time, clearly dancing, lifting things up. Not once was it mentioned. It had to have an injury report come out from, I believe it was a report that came from an agent for people to say, hey, Nolan Smith tore his tricep, by the way. Just freak-like human being.
A unicorn.
Not a human being.
No. Plays football like he truly loves it. Like it's the only thing that he's here to do is to play football extremely hard and with the utmost passion. I love this guy.
He's the best.
He is the best. I can't. By the way, I was asked to do this, so I'm going to do this. Your boy, yours truly, got to work on the golf game. Okay, yours truly will be in Nolan Smith's celebrity golf tournament. Not that you should play because of me, or that you should show up and do this because of me, but I was asked to promote this, so I'm going to do so now. The Nolan Smith Charity Golf Tournament will be played at Southbridge Savannah Golf Club March 31st. Okay, I will tweet out all of the details after this, but if you want to go play in a meaningful tournament, you can go get in on the action over there. So there are sponsorship packages that you can get in on, and I'm going to let you know.
He's probably not going to play in that, is he?
Who, him?
Yeah.
No, he's definitely playing. He plays every year.
Brooks.
Nolan? Oh, with the tricep. You're probably right. You're probably right. Yeah.
Designated putter.
Designated putter?
The
DP.
Yeah. Well, designated talker. Just let him walk around with a microphone.
That's all he has to
Megaphone, Nolan. Yeah. Either way, anytime Nolan Smith's around, it's going to be a good time.
For
yeah,
sure.
if you want to play in that, like I said, I'll tweet out the details after tonight's show, and you can get in on the action. Yours truly will be playing. That's awesome. I love that we get to do those things, or I get to do those things during the spring and the summer.
I'm happy you get to golf, man.
Yeah.
Something you enjoy.
Now, last year, unfortunately, at Aaron Murray's charity golf tournament, some folks got duped, okay? And here's what happened. These folks showed up, paid hard-earned money to a very good cause over at Aaron Murray's golf tournament, expecting to play with Rennie Curran.
Also a great dude. Shout out
And they got me. Little unfortunate for them. I do, however, believe I'm a slightly better golfer than Rennie, but we had no shot. I think the winning team was shot like 58 that day, but nonetheless.
God, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
People are like, what the heck happened to Rennie Curran?
This is not Rennie Curran.
This is not Rennie Curran. This guy doesn't look anything like Rennie Curran. Who is this guy?
Dude, they got some walk-on named Rennie Curran out here playing with me.
Probably the antithesis of Rennie Curran.
Yeah. Yeah. But you should have seen their faces, man. Now, I come walk around the corner with my bag and set it on the cart.
Oh, you must be a fan too.
I couldn't find my cart for the longest time because my name wasn't on a card. Oh, you're Rennie today. Oh, God, I'm Rennie today.
Perfect.
You know, the guy who had 135 tackles, that guy? Yeah. Woo, me. Spring strategy. A little bit different at the University of Georgia? Is this the case?
I don't think it's ever going to be different. I don't think it's different from what Georgia has done in the past. But you've got so many teams this year. Texas, I think USC did it. Obviously, Nebraska's been flirting with it. Ohio State, Ole Miss do their own thing. The spring games has been the topic of the offseason. And so when that happens and all these teams cancel, you get a team like Georgia that has been pretty adamant that they're not going to cancel their spring game. The topic of question now becomes, well, Georgia does things a little differently than the way the rest of the nation does. And it basically is they're utilizing the spring games for official visits to kind of bring in and have that influx of, hey, Texas isn't going to have a spring game. Come watch us. Come be a part of our fan base. So I think that's kind of the difference. I don't think it's anything different than Georgia's ever been doing, but I think it's going to be more hyper-analyzed now because you have so many teams that are making quote-unquote controversial decisions about their spring games.
I know Georgia hosts a plethora of prospects for their spring practices as well.
Correct.
It's a big selling point at Georgia. Come watch how they practice. Come watch how they're coached.
My question to you is, and we've all attended numerous spring games at this
By the way,
point.
I'm looking at the G-Day official visit list. Not as heavy as the first weekend of May.
I was going to say, my question to you is, one, this probably isn't like, hey, let's get everyone in while we can.
Yeah.
And two, would you want this to be like a representation of your game day culture? Because let's be fair, G-Day is a very exciting event. It's great for some people that don't get the opportunity to see Georgia fans or Georgia play in the fall. God knows home games have gotten expensive with the streak going on.
Ridiculous.
But It's not, and it's not a normal Sanford Stadium. It wasn't last year, especially with the renovations.
That's what I was going to say. The last 2 years they've been dealing with renovations.
Correct.
2 years ago, I think they only set them on half. Last year they did it again.
It was like it was basically half, but it ended up being like a quarter because people were like, oh, well, we're not going.
They had the media sitting in the stands. It's quite an experience.
Yeah, just disrespectful.
Not even a little table, nothing.
No, you had to sit up there with a laptop on.
Two laptops.
Oh, that's
I was
right.
recording the spring game with yours,
you were
and I was doing
the
live
ESPN
updates.
broadcast with mine. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. If you think you can come out here and just roll the ball out and work for this network, you just got another thing coming. I'm gonna make you stand on your head like the rest of us have to do. No, I do think this is like I said, I've been holding this official visits list because they're still kind of making changes on it. It looks to me like that May 30th weekend is going to be massive. I'm looking at 20 names May 30th. May 30th through June 1st. Including
huge.
I would assume right now, if they don't land Jared Curtis, they go all out on Landon Duckworth. And those two football players could not be any more different. Mm-hmm. Landon is a freak athlete who is a very raw thrower of the football. Jared Curtis is a freak thrower of the football that is a 6'3", 225-pound catcher. Yeah, as an athlete, 4'7", 4'8", big thick kid that can spin the ever-loving what out of it.
Then what's the one metric that, and this is completely off topic of what we've been discussing, but what's the one metric that these guys evaluate when it comes to quarterback position? Because we have seen numerous different, this is a really traitsy player, this is a really big athlete guy, this is a really big attitude leader type guy. Like, it seems like there's always a plethora based on whatever the class is.
So studying their 2026 quarterback board, this is their profile. 6'2", 205, gotta be a serviceable athlete, a plus athlete, and really accurate, good decision maker with the football. But that 6'3", 200-pound range, that I don't see anybody on the board right now that's 6'5", 220.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody on the board right now that's 5'11", 185 pounds, jitterbug, super freak athlete. Everybody's kind of in that Ryan Puglisi mold, Gunnar Stockton mold, 6'1", 220, 6'3", 225, can spin it.
So that's kind of the baseline, and then the traits and the personality and all those things come after that.
For sure. And not every player that they're recruiting looks the same or plays the same. The offenses would look different with them in it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like Jared Curtis would have a totally different offense than Landon Duckworth would if Landon Duckworth ends up the guy. Mm-hmm. Landon Duckworth is an extreme athlete. Did you see that video of him dunking? Mm-hmm. Dude, he postered somebody the other day in basketball. It was
baptized him?
Yeah, like the dude was seeing through the mesh holes in his shorts while getting dunked on.
Ooh, hope you didn't see too clearly.
It was pretty intimate, the video that I saw.
Pretty intimate.
Yeah, it was pretty intimate.
That's tough.
Yeah. But no, I think that weekend of May 30th, as always, is going to be the big time. Here it is right here. Watch that.
Circling back to the Jared Curtis discussion, because obviously it's between Oregon and you right now. The optics for that Oregon, from a program standpoint of this is a apprentice of Kirby Smart. Oregon's kind of an up-and-coming program. Is that a recruitment battle where it's important to win from an optics standpoint, or does that not even matter at this late in the game?
I mean,
because it felt like...
You know what's going to happen if they don't land him. Mm-hmm. It's going to be all Bobo's fault.
Well, it's also going to be all the money.
It'll be they paid him more, they gave him a bag.
I guess the reason I'm asking...
Isn't Curtis 6'4"? I've eyeballed him at about 6'3". Go ahead.
I guess the reason I'm asking this, because growing up a Georgia fan and all those, anytime Kirby Smart landed a recruit over Nick Saban, anytime a player commit to Georgia instead of Alabama, it was... Here we go. Kirby Smart slowly but surely tearing down the empire. Are you going to get sort of a similar attitude should Jared Curtis go to Oregon?
I think there's always going to be negative spin when you miss on a prospect that big, that's that meaningful to the class. Because everyone, not just this network, everyone has agreed there's a clear-cut one. And then after that, there's a pretty sizable drop-off. By the way, I have his exact measurements at Georgia, 6'3" and a quarter. So
I mean, it's 6'4".
6'3" and a quarter, 229 pounds.
It's tall enough to tell people 6'4".
You want to know how big his hands are?
Would love to.
9 and a quarter. Not huge hands.
No.
Yours truly, 10 inches flat.
You know, I've never measured my hand.
You should. See how big it is. 10 inches on this paw print right here. You know?
There's got to be a tape measure around here. Somewhere.
There is. Oh, that's a staple gun.
I don't want to.
Would not recommend using
Don't
that.
want to put that on my hand.
But no. Jared Curtis, super good football player. Now, this is a time of the year where Kirby's at a lot of coaching events.
Yes.
He's going around talking to a lot of coaches. Let's get some nostalgic tape pulled up, by the way, boys. Going around talking to a bunch of coaches, and I always watch these during the offseason to learn more ball. You also find out how Kirby talks in front of meeting rooms. Mm-hmm. Sometimes he forgets that there's a camera in the room. Today, he kind of took a shot at Johnny Manzel, and it went viral. Unfortunate, but funny.
Yeah.
Also felt very personal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So his joke was basically like he showed it was Joe Burrow, Cam Newton, Bryce Young, and Johnny Manziel.
Correct.
In a 4 quad box, photos of them, and asked the coaches in attendance, hey, what do all these guys have in common? And everybody said Heisman, and then one guy in the background said, they're all champions. And Kirby Smart goes, this guy ain't never won a championship, maybe a fireball championship. Talking about Johnny Manziel.
Yeah. And I mean, it's an unfortunate look. It's a bad look. Obviously, the counter layup is going to be all the legal trouble that's been going on within the program the last 2 years. Like, you know that's going to be what it is. I think that's just a classic example of a coach ribbing on another player or an ex-player. Probably had a personal vendetta against him because Johnny Manziel was who he was, and he became who he was against your defense.
I think vendetta a little strong, but definitely had one of the worst losses at Alabama to the hands of Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
That home loss to Johnny was like they're human. They're vulnerable. You can beat Alabama.
Yeah.
Look at this. All it requires is one of the best creators we've ever seen at the position.
An absolute legend in the sport.
Plus, I mean, probably an opportunity, too, for Kirby Smart to remind people of, yeah, he may have gotten us, but he never won a championship despite beating us. I've got rings. We got rings to our names. I don't know if he does.
Yeah. So I mean, I and also he didn't necessarily tell a lie. It was kind of just like Johnny Manziel did not win a championship. That 2013 season was relatively disappointing for Texas A&M. They underperformed. Like, it was very obvious that we've all seen the documentaries. I don't need to beat the dead Johnny Manziel horse. Like, he did not live up to his full potential in college because of some of the outside choices that he made. Like, Kirby Smart clearly emphasized that, and I don't think there's anything to... It's a bad look for Kirby, especially when he's so buttoned up in media interviews. And if you'd have asked him in front of a podium, hey, what are your thoughts on a quarterback like Johnny Manziel? He'd have said, great talent, all these wonderful things about him. Obviously, in a coaching room, it's more lackadaisical.
I'll tell you this much. We're going to find out how serious Johnny Manziel is about his newfound career of podcasting. Because if there's not a solo tight shot in 4K of Johnny Manziel responding to this that pops up on my social media feed in the next 24 hours, he just ain't about that business. Because this is an awesome time to get in front of your microphone and respond to this.
I don't understand why it's getting labeled as any type of bad look. I think it was a funny joke. I think it's cracking a joke on a player that has been very open about his experience at Texas A&M. It's so much so that he didn't even have to be that open about it because people kind of already knew. I mean, this guy was telling stories of him going downtown, getting plastered on a Friday night, and then going and playing a football game on Saturday. So much so he said, maybe I play better hungover. Like, I just think it was a funny, true joke. And I understand, like, the outside circumstances of, this is the guy making the joke about that, huh? Like, it was just a good laugh. It's okay to laugh, people.
I also think it's a bad look in the aspect of Kirby Smart is a coaching figure, and when a coaching figure talks down about a player, granted, a player he never had experience with coaching, it's always just kind of I always just feel that way. But
I love this question, and I don't randomly pick questions out unless they hit close to home, or at least I have a meaningful thing to say about them. This one comes from our friend Blessing to Boxing. Says, Brooks, can you start highlighting youth to high school camps around the state for recruiting? I'm just a dad trying to get my sons in the right place. All right, so here's how I would approach this. And if my son is ever, into the athletic fields, here's how we would approach this based off my knowledge of how the recruiting industry works. Year one, meaning after our freshman fall, for a football player, for example, that freshman spring and summer, we would spend the entire summer dreaming. All right. We would go to the big programs. We would go to Georgia. We'd go to Alabama. We'd go to Ohio State. We would go wherever my financial budget could afford us to go. And here's the reason why. We're going to show our son what is required to play at these programs. All right, our freshman offseason, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go out and we're going to show him this is what it looks like. These players that get offers at these camps at Georgia, this is what they look like when they're juniors. All right, and then we're going to have a mental, stamp of what it looks like, what is required. So that's year one. That freshman spring and summer, we're going to go dreaming and we're going to go set the standard for what is required. That's sophomore spring. So after our sophomore fall, we play another year of high school football. That sophomore spring, we're going to do a combination of dreaming and being realistic. Okay. So if we're a 6'2", 285-pound center, all right, that sophomore spring, we're going to maybe take a trip to Georgia Tech. But while we do so, we're going to go see Georgia Southern as well. Because if we go down to Georgia Southern and we pick up an offer, guess whose radar we just really popped up on? Georgia Tech's. Okay, so we're going to do a combination of dreaming with realistic expectations of where we're at. All right, teams that have actually invited us to camps, we're going to go our sophomore year. We're going to earn offers from the teams who are actually interested in us, thus driving up interest from the schools that we dream to play for. All right, year 3, after our junior year, it's all realistic expectations. We have to be real about what is in front of us. We have to be real about the teams that aren't just recruiting us, but love us, want us to come play for them. We have to go to those camps, and we have to get committable offers now. All right, so that would be my approach. My freshman year, we're dreaming. My sophomore year, we're dreaming with realistic expectations, earning the offers to draw in the interest from the teams we're dreaming for. Year 3, we're going to be all realistic. You asked about camps. I'm going to be honest with you. The Under Armour event here in Atlanta, and I don't mean to disparage other people, okay? I'm just telling you what I know. The Under Armour event here in Atlanta, that data gets reported straight to college football programs. They use that data. They use that film. They look at that. That is an invite-only camp. So your son might not be getting those invites. Every other camp, I can't tell you when was the last time some local camp had some kid pop up and get an offer out of because he ran fast or he's big, and that's all that ever happens. The last name that I remember going to like a KSU mega camp, for example. All right, the last big name I heard come out of that was CJ Madden, and CJ Madden was 6'4.5", 247 pounds, and ran 4.72. That kid was going to get an SEC offer no matter what, Bubba. So I'm just letting you know. So if you're one of those, yeah, go to camps all you want. If you're a normal athlete, you need to go to these schools, go to their camps, get in front of their football coaches, and earn scholarships, in my opinion. That's the way I would go about my recruitment.
Putting on game right there.
Yeah. So there you go. Again, don't mean to disparage all the camps that you see around here nowadays. I think you're giving $80, $90, $100 away to run a 40.
It's definitely a business.
Yeah. So now, used to, like during COVID, that's all they had.
Yeah.
During COVID, when I couldn't invite kids onto my campus and get them to run a 40, that's all we had. But nowadays, these guys are having 1,400, 1,500, 1,600 kids on their campus May through July. Get your butt on that campus and go get a scholarly. That's the way to do it.
Did you do camps in high school?
No, because I was a coward. Yeah, me as an athlete thought I was good, didn't want to compete. That's why I played Division II football, and I'm 6'1". So there's just you just got no chance unless you go be a dog at one of these camps. I had an invite to App State for a padded camp, and I mentally told myself, they'll smoke me. I didn't say it to my parents. I didn't tell them why. I was not ready to compete at a high level until I was a freshman in college earning a scholarship. And at that point, it was balls to the wall. Every dollar that I could earn was a scholarship that I didn't have to take out, a loan that I didn't have to take out. And at that point, I became a competitor, a real competitor. What they look like, the elite ones.
You think you would have gone to a bigger school had you gone to some of those camps when you were younger? Yeah.
I think had I stopped my sophomore and junior year, I was out like visiting Ole Miss and visiting Georgia Tech and visiting. I had no business. I had no business going to those schools. Had I been more realistic, I would have ended up at Georgia Southern.
Oh, that would have been good for you.
It wouldn't have been good for my future life. I ended up where I was supposed to be, as most of us do. But that would be my approach right there. I have an all-22 Georgia edition.
Let's hear it.
I like this.
I like this a lot. Quarterback's nice and easy. Give me Stetson Bennett. So fun.
Who ranks second on this list?
Carson.
Okay.
By a mile. In my opinion, it's such a stern drop-off between Stetson and Carson and what Jake Fromm did.
This is players you have studied.
Yeah, this is since 2019.
Yeah.
So it's really only 3 quarterbacks up for discussion with DeJuan Mathis's 6 series against Arkansas.
Hey, JT Daniels.
Stern drop-off. Give me Stet, and then I would take Carson as the firm backup, the rest of the guys in a conglomerate.
No love for the guy that some would say kick-started this place?
From?
JT Daniels.
Oh.
It's like one of the most watched film studies ever, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is. You're talking about this place in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I got a special place in my heart for JT Daniels. Even though, man, you talking about the Brooksy curse. That was the first sign of it. When Buddy came in, first career start, Mississippi State, threw for damn near 4 bills. And the Georgia fan base was like, hey, where's that film guy that told me this dude's not all that? Long game. Running back, give me DeAndre Swift and specifically freshman Kendall Milton.
Ooh. Oh, that's a fun duo.
Freshman Kendall Milton was such a bitch to tackle.
2020 Kendall Milton, dude.
22. Number 22 Kendall Milton was a dog.
I'm saying it was the 2020 season.
Yeah. That game against Tennessee specifically.
Oh, yeah, man.
Dudes were bouncing off of him as an 18-year-old freshman. Give me that, Kendall Milton. Also, the Bama clips. If you go back and watch him against Bama in 2020,
dude,
foot in the gas. At 230 pounds, hard to tackle. Loved freshman Kendall Milton tape. Loved the rest of the tape, but freshman Kendall Milton was different. Tight ends, obvious. Give me Brock and Darnell. With a little bit of love for Charlie Warner. It was like a tad bit.
Just no Trey McKitty love?
Nah.
All right.
I'm good on that. X is easy. George Pickens. Z is easy. Lad McConkey. Left tackle. Give me Broderick Jones at left and freshman Andrew Thomas at right tackle.
That's a good duo.
Yeah.
I like that.
Better than that.
Yeah, can't get better than that at all. Ooh, left guard. A classic. I don't know how you do that. I don't really know how you win because you don't look like the rest of us. Saul McKinley.
Yeah.
Saul McKinley, real good football player at the University of Georgia. That didn't look like none of the rest of the guys. Solomon was about 355 pounds.
He had a barrel.
Probably carried 230 of it in his gut.
He had a barrel stomach. Dude.
Yeah. Big fan of 66 during his time at the University of Georgia. Center's easy. He's on the board. Give me Ced.
Yep.
Give me Cedric Van Pran at center. Right guard in pass protection, Ben Cleveland. Just an absolute wall of a human being. Hard to run through. Impossible to run through. And as he got older, playing so much ball, being so old, the stunt game, the ability to pick up stunts from Ben Cleveland was phenomenal during his time at the end of his Georgia run. But overall, give me a healthy Tate. And I already talked about right tackle. Give me Andrew Thomas. On to the defensive side of the ball.
Whoa. You didn't do a slot.
Yeah. Who's the best slot receiver?
I went
through it. I went through it and decided we'd be a 12 team.
That's fair.
I mean, since 2019, the best slot receiver has been
McCall Hardman. No, he left in 2018. Dominic Lovett.
I agreed with the 12 personnel.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, it hadn't been one of those.
It's fine.
At Georgia. Now, this year, maybe Zachariah Branch.
Could be.
Maybe getting him loose out there in the slot.
Maybe throw Ladd in the slot.
Yeah, we would if we had a true Z outside of him.
AD Mitchell
as an X.
More than George Pickens, you think?
Yeah. Well, the same. Both north of 6'3", both north of 200 pounds, 50-50 ball winners, red zone targets. Can beat man-to-man coverage. True X's. There's only 2 that I've studied at Georgia.
What about just plugging in a Curious Jackson?
Fun. Loved it. My favorite Curious Jackson story of all time was when he broke his hand in 2019 and played scout team for 6 weeks with a club on his hand. He had the hornet's nest, playing scout team wide receiver, catching balls with a hornet's nest. That's dope. Mm-hmm. That's Peach County right there. That's Peach County, Georgia right there. Some Lawrence Cager love in the chat. Yeah, Lawrence Cager, True X,
Lawrence
2019 True X.
For 3 games was incredible.
Yeah, until he just had chronic shoulder issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thing just kept slipping out on him. So, unfortunate there. On to the defensive side of the football. Nose tackle, clear cut, Jordan Davis. Defensive tackle, give me Jalen Carter. Like I mentioned in the National Hour, a little love for Devontae Wyatt. Also, sneaky Tyler Clark fan right here.
Underrated.
A very
Love
underrated.
Tyler
Could
Clark.
not believe it
was
didn't
very
work
good.
out in the league. I could have sworn he was going to be a guy.
Yeah.
You talking about flashes. Tyler Clark. Wow. What a big-time flash player at the University of Georgia. Defensive end, I'm going Michael over Trayvon Walker personally. Just because.
That's fair.
Just because. I've had the same comp on Michael since high school.
Michael's more violent. in my
And
opinion.
just, I think, more well-rounded in college.
I agree.
But Trayvon, freaky. If you could watch one defensive end tape and just show it to somebody, like, look at this avatar, you go Florida game that year where
Yes.
they made Anthony
Yeah.
Richardson look like a JV
Dropped him
player.
in freaking coverage.
Yeah, lays out full fingertips, flops the ball up. Nolan Smith, the other dropper from the other side, picks the ball off. Yeah, has simulated pressure Georgia football. I hope they get back to that this year, by the way. I think they will. Jack, I'm going to Z's over Nolan.
Really?
Yeah. I really, really loved watching Aziz play
That's
football
fair.
at Georgia. A very, very special place in my heart for Aziz Ojulari's tape. N'Kobe Dean at Mike, I think that's a nice, easy one since 2019.
Yeah, I was going to say.
A close second, Monty Rice. Monty Rice, underrated football player.
Very.
Toughness meter, out this world was Monty Rice's. Basically played with like no big toe in 2019 and like a fractured foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope I'm not betraying any confidences there. I don't think I am. But yeah, super tough football player. Will linebacker, give me Quay Walker.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Who
Close-
was second for you?
Yeah, I was going to say
Was
close
Smile.
second.
Did Smile come in too?
Yeah,
or
maybe
was it-
Smile, even though Channing's ceiling, his flashes at Will were way higher.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Channing was a gadget linebacker.
Yeah.
In a way that he was your third down blitz guy. He could play classic Will if you needed him to. If Quay Walker went down and got hurt, you had no qualms about putting Channing Tindall in there. But Channing Tindall was traditionally a, hey, go blitz because you're fast as hell.
Especially early on in his career. But became a lot more dependable on first and second down as a Will
Correct.
as his career progressed. I would say Smile far more consistent on a down-and-down basis than Channing. On to the star position. Javon Bullard or Tyreek Stevenson or Tyke Smith. They've had three good ones.
They have.
Really, really good ones.
The nasty.
Mark Webb, far better football player than you guys remember as well. Like an NFL
had a
guy.
great game against Cincinnati in 2020.
Yeah.
That Peach Bowl was when I was like, damn, our secondary is going to be very good next
I always talk about it. That 2019 Mississippi State game for me was like, oh, wow. Oh, y'all. There's an education gap here.
Oh, you're talking about 2020?
Yeah, I'm talking about the year Will Rogers came down and completed 90% of his balls against zone coverage.
That was the JT Daniels game.
And Twitter was just going irate about getting out of zone. Why are we rushing three? Get out of zone coverage. They played one snap of man in that football game. Do y'all remember what happened?
Yeah, it was a fade shot on the right corner.
Mark Webb got beat on a corner route for 60 in man coverage. So, yeah, unfortunate. Safety, give me Richie and Malachi.
I like it.
Yeah, big Richard LeCounte guy.
Who do you rank behind Richard then? Because obviously Malachi is safety one.
You know,
there's good options.
I'm a big fan of J.R. Reed as well.
J.R. Reed.
I love
Chris Smith.
Fun fact: the big Eric Stokes hit, actually a J.R. Reed on-field check.
Oh,
Yep.
Classic Cobra blitz.
Yep. Classic. Hey, they never throw to the boundary over here. Rotate the pressure.
Go
Boom.
Go
Strip
kill
sack.
a guy making his first start.
Yeah, poor guy. Yeah, that guy did not. He ended up retiring, didn't he?
I don't.
Mental health concerns.
Later on, yeah.
Corner Kamarian Stokes probably.
I like it.
Huh.
I wasn't here for Baker, so don't throw that one at me.
I'm surprised you didn't throw Tyson Campbell.
Stokes. I feel like Stokes got beat less.
That's fair.
Campbell had a tough time finding the football early on in his career, in my opinion.
No Dalen Everett.
Not the caliber of those guys.
You take Stokes over Keely Ringo, and I know that there's a Keely Ringo. There's an inflation around his name because of what he did.
The one thing I know about Eric Stokes, for a fact, every single snap, he's going to be in your hip. Every single snap. Now, might not play the ball, Ball's going to have to play him. But he going to be on you.
Yeah.
Every single snap. And the rest of the guys, I couldn't quite. And I think Eric Stokes more so, well, no, Campbell became an absolute stick towards the end of his career. Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
There's a play on the goal line, I think it's against Auburn, where Tyson Campbell in man-to-man covers 0 on the goal line, runs clear across, and sticks his head across a wide receiver on the goal line. Big hit to save a touchdown. So some of that, they've had a lot of really, really good corners. Biggest ceiling, biggest freak I've ever seen at Georgia at corner, Amir Speed.
Oh,
Yeah.
Amir Speed got drafted and is in the NFL right now because he's a freak.
Mm-hmm.
Amir Speed at his NFL Pro Day came back to Georgia to do Pro Day. I think he broad jumped almost 11 feet.
that's incredible.
At 6'3", 205 pounds as a corner. 3rd round draft pick by the Patriots, I believe. And didn't have I don't know if Amir Speed had a single career college start.
He started
at Michigan State?
He started at Michigan
Okay.
State.
1 year of starting.
Yeah.
Big time draft. All right, what's next?
We have a
We got nostalgia tape? Let's do this. All right. Let's see here. Northeast High School. Let's see what we got. We got a defensive player. Yep. Is this a linebacker? I couldn't see who they circled. Oh, this is the receiver we're watching?
Yes.
Man, he is muscular.
Uh-huh.
That's a big dude.
This is going to be tough for you.
Huh. That is a really big kid.
Very big.
He played wide receiver in high school or in college?
No.
No.
Played tight end in college?
Did
No.
not.
He was
not
on
play
defensive
Did not
side.
play offense in college.
What? What high school is that? We don't even know.
Couldn't even tell
Couldn't
you.
tell.
This is
didn't
out of
check it.
state, though, isn't it? This is not state of Georgia high school football.
No.
I don't believe so.
Yo, there's no way I'm figuring out who this kid is.
This is kind of funny, though, because you are very high on this player.
Huh. Wearing 18.
No correlation there.
No correlation.
None.
Now I'm just trying to look at how he's moving to see who he is.
That should have been a bit of an indicator.
I have no idea. It looks like a northern school. You say I'm high on this guy? Or was during his career at Georgia?
Yeah, you have some sort of affinity for this player.
I'm clueless. Who is this?
It's Mark Webb.
That's Mark Webb?
Mark Webb.
Huh. Mark Webb might have needed to stay a receiver. Holy shit, man.
Looks like Julio Jones.
I mean, he is insane. They must have thrown him like 3 slants in camp and were like, DB. Because, man, he does body catch a lot, but no, there's no chance I would have ever guessed Mark Webb here.
It was because I was like trying to think of like, DBs aren't great. But he was listed.
Bro.
He was listed as a wide receiver on 247.
He got easy scooting juice.
Yeah. Very,
Damn.
very interesting.
Go catch some balls off the jugs, Mark. We might increase our NFL lifespan here.
As soon as you said this guy's very muscular, I was like, oh, he might get this one, actually.
Nah, there's no way I was getting that. Huh. Damn. Mark Webb was a guy in high school. Do we have any more?
That was it.
Let's try to grab another one, maybe. Because you know what happens nowadays? If we talk during the national hour for an hour and 8 minutes and we only do 52 minutes of local hour, people are like, what's going on? This guy doesn't love the dogs anymore. This guy doesn't love covering the dogs anymore.
There's not 3 hours of content in a week to talk about
there
one
is.
specific team.
Sure there is.
Yeah, we can throw up nostalgia tapes and all that, but
All right. Since we talked about this player, well, he doesn't have a season. How long is this one? This is a minute 49. This is long enough.
You know whose high school tape is electric? Justin Robinson out of Elka. It is phenomenal.
I believe
There's
that.
even some I'm going to murder you on kickoff tape on that thing.
That's always fun.
We got something?
Yeah, it's just getting rid of the ad right now, and then there we go.
No free ads. No free ads. Oh.
I just wanted to watch this.
I do too. This is Tyler Clark, by the way. I saw the name. So
We're going to cheat here a little
Americus,
bit.
Georgia.
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah, baby. South Georgia. Come on now.
Is that Dalton?
Look at these dudes, man.
Is that Dalton?
They got dogs up front.
Good Lord.
54 looks like a player, too.
No, it's not Dalton.
That was just a get-off snap right there. Man.
Damn, this is cut quickly.
Yeah, it is.
Oh!
That's some murder.
Ain't no targeting back then, baby.
Nah, man. But that's an overhand swim. All right, Tyler Clark. Yeah, give me a celly. Tyler Clark known for a good celly back in my day. Yes, sir. God, he's big. What?
Pause.
Oh, my bad. He looks more athletic in college than he does right here.
Yeah, he definitely cleaned up in college.
Yeah, body got better.
That be Tyler Clark, though.
Yeah. Whew. Scary, violent hands.
Big time Flash player. All right, I'm good. Y'all good?
Yes,
Good.
sir.
Excited for this car ride tomorrow?
I do have a question about this car ride.
Yeah.
Go ahead and clear the air. Prepare myself for this. Are Zentosses staying in the show for this?
No,
I'd
not while
rather
driving.
not.
That's
Yeah,
just dangerous. That's just dangerous.
Yeah, that's dangerous. Recording though, doing a live show in the car.
We're not doing a
live show. Not live show.
Not
Sorry,
live. Not live.
it's not dangerous.
I mean, what's dangerous about a camera sitting there recording natural conversation that we're going to have anyway?
Nothing that I could think of. It'll
I'm
be fun.
excited.
I'm excited too.
It's safer than surfing the web.
Should we bring a pelota?
I figured that was already a requirement for road trips.
All right, I'll bring a ball. All right. Love you guys. Appreciate you being here.